Hello. Hello. Is it working now or no? Because I'm not, oh my God, I'm not playing these games right now. Gosh, I just want a normal Saturday show without problems. Can you guys hear me or not? What do you mean much better? Better, yes or no, working? Okay, okay, good. Okay. Because how can you say better if I didn't have any sound in the beginning? What does that? Okay, all right, all right. Hi. Hello, everyone. How are you? Hi, Cool Cat. Hi, Jamal. Jamal. Hi, Jamal. Obama. Jamal Obama. Hi, Cool Cat. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Zilich. Where's your twin, Zilich? Hi, Yakub. Hi, Lepo. Oh my gosh, the comments keep moving so fast. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Wait. Hi, Sword. Hello, twin of Zilich. Super Suka. Hello, Carrie. Behave yourself, Carrie. Behave yourself, because I'm not in the mood today. I have you know, I'm not in the mood today, okay? For those who came that one time and said that my microphone is for show, up yours. Look at that. You see? That's you. Eh, that's that's an idiotic thing to say. Why would I be holding this thing just for fun? You guys think it's fun to just hold this random black thing in my hand at like pointing at my mouth? For what? Why what would be the reason to hold it if it's not working? People are so retarded. Hold on guys. I'm pulling. Hi Tim, how are you? You said he was here earlier. Oh, okay. I didn't see him. Sorry guys. I don't always see everybody straight away. Hi PG Bear. Hi BTK. Go to the naughty corner. Go straight to the naughty corner and don't come out for the rest of the show. Don't. You're in permanent naughty corner. No one talks about my mother and gets away with it. He said they should have put Kyle Rittenhouse in charge of the vaccines. Unlike Moderna, his 3 shots actually worked. Ooh. Graham. Graham. You're right. I want to yell at you, but how can I? You're right. I mean, sorry. I just guys don't get mad at me for don't. BTK is not sensitive. You don't talk about people's mothers. Okay. If you're gonna keep trying to like insult me, please stop. Please don't do that. Hello, Magneto. How are you? What up? What up? I know, right, Graham? It was spicy. Holy heck. Okay, guys, wait. Stop, Zealish. Stop. We're not talking about that. We're not going to talk about it. Don't talk about it. Please. All right, guys. All right, ready? Okay, let's get into it. So, if you guys don't know, I'm going to talk to you guys about this right now. I'm going to pull up the article that I saw, and this is what I want to share with you today. Magneto said he has a question. What is it, Magneto? He says, how is Lebanon different from the other Middle Eastern countries? What makes it unique? Nothing. It's the same as everything. Okay, so let's get into the articles. So, I have 2 that I want to bring up with you guys, right? These are, I don't know what you could say. You could say these are, one of them is kind of written by an author that works for MSN. And this is the reason why I don't really trust it. But I have another one from a different source that I want to share with you. But I'll share with you guys this one first. Hold on. Okay. I just want to. Hold on. Let me pull it up. All right. Here we go. All right. All right. So if you guys don't know, plenty of people are making these bunkers around the world, and most of it is like billionaires making these bunkers, these underground bunkers or underwater bunkers, and a lot of them are almost like palaces. What is the plural of a palace? Palisades? No, palisades is where I like to go for lunch. Palaces, but anyway, you understand, these places are luxury bunkers. These are luxurious places, and they're made by these billionaires, and the upper class of the millionaires. The reason I want to bring this up today is because my husband has been talking my ear off about this, because he's saying that we need to build one. And I say, I don't know if I want us to waste money on something that we don't know if we're ever going to need, but, you know, he wants it so bad. And I asked him his reasoning, and his reasoning was because of the things that he's seeing, the trends of other people doing, other millionaires and so on. And he's like, we need to do it too. I don't really agree with it, but I want to share it with you guys. So you guys remember back in Hawaii when they had that big Hawaii fire, and we spoke briefly about it, I think like 2 weeks ago, how we said that it could have been um, started by a laser, because a lot of people said that they witnessed a laser come down, a laser beam, and this is part of the reason why all of the things that were blue were safe. People were saying that, why are all the things that are blue safe? Anybody who had a house or a shed or a car or what have you that was blue, nothing happened to them. How is that possible? And this is why people were theorizing or coming up with this theory that this fire in Hawaii was made on purpose. And a lot of people also said that, because of Oprah, how Oprah, she has her properties there and her property wasn't touched. She also ensured that when this happened, that no one who was looking for refuge could come to her property in Hawaii. She did not open up a guest house. She did not open up a shed. Heck, you could have even just opened up a gazebo at that point for any of the people trying to get away from the fires. But no, she didn't. Yet, after that, she comes with the rock. These two wealthy people come and say, give us your money so we can send it to Hawaii. We've donated, 200,000, which is nothing to them. 200 grand is just like, oh, I found this in my pocket. 200 grand. Oh, there you go. But she said, oh, we're there to help the Hawaiis. We're there to help them. No, Chronic. No, listen, behave yourself. No puniti today. What he says. I want to talk about Texas with you, but hold on. I'm not talking about Texas right now. Okay. Do you know anything about the bunkers, Chronic? If you do. All right. Listen, I will give you a second, but the moment that you go off on a tangent, there's the link in the chat. So if you're going to do this, and it's only for Chronic, guys, because I'm not ready to open up the panel. So it's only if Chronic wants to say something. But anyway, so back to what I was telling you guys about this whole thing in Hawaii, right? So after that, we were looking up a lot of things. A lot of people are getting super suspicious about this and talking about how, these billionaires, they're planning for something. What are they planning for? Now we have Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah, Bill Gates, a few others with names that are super random. I don't even know. Names like Undead Chronic, names that are random. And hello, Chronic.
How you doing?
I am all right. Thank you. You?
So what? It's the 27th of January and we're already starting the Civil War. That wasn't planned until the end of the year.
I told you that it started on January the 6th. Don't you remember?
Yeah, this is true. It's
We're
been
actually
kind of
running
crazy
late.
though.
It has.
There was this meme
Did you
video.
see,
What's up?
Chronic, did you see that Biden has said that he wants to start war with the state of Texas because Texas is defending their borders?
No, yeah, I've seen all the news. I just covered earlier. I did a segment where I was, because my channel, we were talking about feminism and such. I'm like, did you guys know? Look at this tweet. Every single female Supreme Court justice voted to keep the border open. Every single one. It's
Every single one?
It's 4 women and 1 dude. 4 women and 1 white cuck. I'm like, damn it. Come on, white man. You got to represent the race better than that.
But Chronic, being one solitary white man amongst a bunch of women is a very dangerous thing in this America, this modern America,
Well, they're all Supreme Court justices, so I'm sure there's tapes and videos of them doing things anyhow.
Blackmail much?
Yeah. So what's your stream on tonight? Is it about Texas?
Chronic, no, that was last week. But Chronic, I'm telling you, there's this bunker thing, right? So my husband has been talking to me about, he already started digging holes in our other property in the backyard.
Based,
I
based.
asked him, "What are you doing?
Let
Are
your
you
man
there?
dig. Come on. Yeah.
Let my man dig."
Next time you see your husband, tell him that Undid Chronic berated you for not letting him dig his holes, and say, "Okay, honey, you're right. Chronic roasted me and said let the husband dig. There's one thing American men have a right to, a God-given right. It's to dig holes on our own God-given property, our land."
Chronic,
No,
relax.
sorry, sorry, sorry,
Listen.
sorry, sorry.
I
I
had
had
a
one girl
garden.
tell I had one girl tell me I'm not allowed to build a cabin on my property because it would disturb nature. I moved that chick so fast out of my house, you would have thought she broke the speed barrier.
Chronic, I had a garden. I had a garden, for crying out loud.
Oh, he
It's
dug a hole in the garden?
yes.
Okay, that's a bit different. That's a bit different. That's a bit
My
different.
garden is gone. And he said, "Well, it's winter anyway." I'm like, "What do you mean? The spring is coming eventually."
Oh.
You
So
know,
what
and he
so
said,
because your stream title, let me read it to my guys because I got like 400 people listening right now. Your stream
"Chronic,
title
chronic,
is
I
"They are
need
preparing for something. Will you be ready?" Because I love schizo ranting. Like I'm the best schizo ranter you will ever talk to.
chronic. I wish you
Yes,
would hear the point. I wish you would hear it.
I'm hearing it.
Listen,
I'm ready.
this is the thing. So a lot of billionaires after the Hawaii fires, I don't know if you know anything about that situation, that fire was started from
And
a
all
laser beam.
all the cops were just like, "No, you can't get on this. You can't get on this interstate." And they burnt alive. All these kids burnt alive because the cops didn't let them escape. Literally, children burnt alive because the cops said you can't get on this road. Yep.
You're lost, chronic. You are somewhere else right now.
No,
I wish
I'm talking about the Hawaiian fire.
so. You know what happened, right? You know the Hawaii fire, and then Oprah came up and
Oh,
her fat
yeah.
self.
I'm just reminding everybody when the fire was happening, the Hawaii cops shut down the highway, and so all the parents couldn't go get their kids who were going to school in town, and so those kids burnt alive because the cops didn't let the
Oh,
parents get them.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
But that could be another thing. You know how these people are about children. They probably got kidnapped too. They probably did stuff anyway.
I would not be surprised if they literally went to the town hall the night before and put down a blood circle and sacrificed those people to Moloch or Baal. I would not be surprised.
I shouldn't be laughing at that. Chronic.
Like I was, no, I'm dead. I'm one. I know people laugh at that, but I'm 100% serious. I would not be surprised if that came out.
Chronic, you are not going to let me get out this thing, are you?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to have a conversation with you.
But wait, I'm trying to tell you the
I'm sorry.
thing.
Okay,
So this
go
is
on.
what's happening. So
Go on.
listen, all these billionaires, after the whole Hawaii fiasco, after that, they realized that they are building all these bunkers underground because they did some kind of an aerial thing and they could see all these underground pockets in the land in Hawaii. And then they started looking in other places and they found more. Most of
Mhm.
these things are owned by these billionaires. Oprah, for one, has a company under the guise. It's called the Yellow Brick Road Construction. Yellow Brick Road Construction. Look it up, guys.
That just
And
sounds sketch.
I mean, obviously,
Continue.
but
Well, with
anyway,
Yellow Brick
she's
Road Construction, I might as well just name my biotech company Zombie Virus Techia. It's just like, I wonder what they're gonna make. Sorry, continue. Continue.
so she has all it's a bunch of luxury bunkers underground, right? Now, the reason I'm talking to you about this is because what are they preparing for? What is it that they know that we don't know?
I mean, you can talk to any minister guy, and they know this country is going to be eating itself in the next 10 years. We're already eating ourselves. I mean, look at the good old St. Floyd riots. That was over a singular crackhead. What are these people going to do if they go hungry? So like just we all know that. And so I don't think it's I'm not sure if there's something in particular that's special. There could be. There could be like a massive solar flare coming or aliens or demons or whatever. Or something else like food or like a virus or whatever it is. But I'm just saying we already know it's going to hit the fan. So if
Mm.
I had billions of dollars, yeah, I'd be making a luxury bunker too right now.
There's another thing that's happening as well. If people, you are in this industry, actually, this is your industry,
Uh oh.
chronic. I hope you know, and if you haven't known, I want to help you. There is another disease that has been created, stronger than the coronavirus, and China. I believe it's China who made it in their labs. Now, this one is 100% or like a 97 to 100% for fatality rate.
Yeah,
So,
I saw some stories about that. I don't know if it was it a coronavirus, because I know they made another coronavirus and people were
right,
freaking out about that.
right. But I mean, coronaviruses have always been around. You know that they just come in different forms. But
Yeah, no, it was like some kind of. I think the one you're talking about is You know what? Let me just pull up the story. Um,
well, while he's doing that, there's many things that are coming, and I believe that these billionaires and these people who know what's coming are trying to save themselves by finding a way to hide it out or what have you. But the problem is this: why aren't they the ones creating the issue? So they're creating it and then running to save themselves, right? So what is it that a bunker could save you from? A bunker could
okay,
save you
so it's a
from an aerial attack. Go ahead.
it's just so the one you're talking about is it's a new mutated virus. They use the COVID-19 as a template. They named this one GXP2V, and they
Mm,
said they at least reported it's Chinese science. So
of
whether
course,
they
it's
report it,
Chinese.
I'm sure every single Chinese lab that has to make a deadly virus reports 100% kill rate, regardless of the
Obviously,
actual kill rate. So when they get these
obviously.
headlines, it's like, okay, is it 100%? Who knows? But they said they claim to have a 100% kill rate with humanized mice. That's what they said. So that's what
Hmm.
people were talking about. I don't like how we fund this research in China. We should have U.S. scientists doing this research, because this research
And
is going to get done. You can't just say, no, it's bad, let's ban it. That's what we did. That's what we did right now. Oh, that research is bad and naughty, let's ban it. Right? So that research gets banned. What happened? Well, all these big wigs in the military are like, we need to get this research done. And so they pay labs in the Ukraine to do that research. They pay labs in China to do that research. We literally give government research grants. Okay. These are the things American scientists compete for, and it's their life and blood for. We give
mm,
those science grants to scientists in China to perform these sketchy experiments, because
thank
we
you.
can't do it here because we're too sensitive about it. Now you might be thinking, well, that's not
Thank you.
good. We should not do it at all. Well, we can't. China's going to do it no matter what. So if we do it here, at least American scientists do things like,
Mm,
I don't know, go take our fucking animals to the wet market and sell them, because we're not
mm.
communists. We're not. I don't need to eat a bat if I'm doing research on bats. China, whole other fucking story. Sorry.
Chronic. Sharon is saying that the lab is not in China, that it's in Fort Collins, Colorado. Sharon, the one that I saw was in China, but you might be thinking about a different one.
Yeah, you're
What
probably thinking
do
about
you
something
have any
else.
response to Sharon? Chronic?
I haven't heard about anything about Fort Collins or Colorado or anything. The hospital workers have been vaxxed with the. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
So BTK says the billionaires have the vaccine antidote. The antidote, oh, to the whatever is coming, that 99% fatality thing. Do you really think that, BTK? Because I mean, if they couldn't make a vaccine to the coronavirus, or maybe they did and they just didn't share it with the world. I don't know. I don't know. They say we have a vaccine and so on, but
I could tell
yeah.
them how to get the vaccine in an unethical way for any disease, but I'm not gonna do it for free, Soros. Once the apocalypse comes, come pick me up in a helicopter and pay me and get me some, give me some cute goth girls, and then I'll tell you how to do it. I'm not doing it for free on YouTube.
Okay, you and your goth girls. All right. Listen, I want to talk to you for now. How have you been? Is there anything else that you want to update us on the other side of the tracks? Because you cover you cover subjects that I typically don't cover. So what
You cover the
have
fun
you been?
stuff. I want to get into I want to start doing politics on Rumble. I want to cover the election on Rumble.
You do?
I feel like that'd be a lot of fun, because it's just for someone who doesn't like any of the political parties or
Hmm.
candidates or people. I
Yeah.
just have so much fun making fun of all of them.
But chronic, you have to be aware of all of it. You can't just say I'm just against everybody just because. You have to know the policies and know the reasons. And do
Oh no!
you?
Oh yeah! I know all the reasons I don't like any of these people. I mean, to be quite frank, it just at the core of my being, it comes down to my religious beliefs. That's why I don't agree
By
with
the
this
way,
government.
post nut clarity is right. Is that a bad word?
Okay, I mean, please, 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 please don't. You don't want to say his username. I'm helping you out.
That
Don't say
sounded weird when I said it. I don't
don't
know
say it.
why it sounded weird.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
don't.
guys. Whatever that means.
every
Um,
every time I talk to you, you end up saying something that ends up being nasty. I hope you don't look that up
sorry.
afterwards.
I'm
Please don't.
sorry.
No, you're no, no, you're fine.
I'll just say post. Hi post. He says, guess what? Vitamin C, D3, zinc, and quercetin. He's right. He's definitely right. That's the defense that you have against this. But when I was saying about the vaccine, I was talking about the pharmaceutical industry saying that they have a vaccine, and you see what their vaccine does to the people. There's children, chronic, on the playground having heart attacks because
Yep.
their parents vaccinated them when they were 2.
People who kids who mysteriously, that kind of stuff. But hey, I hope they get more boosters. I hope all those kids in the big cities they get the boosters and they, it's a shame. Yeah, but these people, they're not going to listen to anything. They're just going to listen to CNN, MSNBC, and what I see on Facebook.
It says undead is here, Punyeti.
Puniti indeed.
You
Well,
know,
go
go ahead.
on. I'll say, what other topics are you covering?
I'm covering a few things. I usually let it go as it comes. You know what I mean? Usually when I give my pride a topic, and they just move on. They expand it, or they move on to something that they move on to. So I usually just roll with it. Whatever we get into, we get into. Do you have anything that you want to bring up?
No, I'm just saying if you have a list of topics you want to get to, we can move
I do.
on. And if
I
you want to
do.
kick me from your show, we can move on. It's all up to you. You're the big boss.
All right, hold on. If you're going to be here for a second, then let me bring up something then with you
Sure.
and see if you want to comment
Yes,
on
I have
this.
I have time.
Okay. I have a few topics from.
Tom of the Warband says, Chronic, what would you call it when girls warn another girl that you're into that you are a creep or a loser? It's called blocking. What's getting blocked? You know what's getting blocked.
What's getting blocked?
I'm
The
trying
border?
not, I'm trying not to say the I'm trying
Am I missing something? I'm
no,
sorry. I wasn't
no,
even.
no, you're fine. No, you're fine. I'm just trying to protect you. I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying not to say the naughty words for your ears. I'm trying to protect you.
Also, even blockage is naughty too now.
No,
Great.
no, no, no. It's what's getting blocked.
Okay, this is what I want to bring up with you, Chronic. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. In the news, a Middle Eastern illegal immigrant threatened a journalist asking if he is attempting to cross the border. A Middle Eastern illegal alien threatened a journalist earlier this week after journalists claimed that the alien seemed to feel entitled. The Middle Eastern alien. The alien looked at him with anger in his eyes and eloquently replied, "No, believe me, I'm much better than that. You will see me soon, sir. You will find out who I am very soon." That was a quote. He says, while there is no evidence of bluffing or truth to his statement, many of those who viewed the exchange took his words as a direct threat to the safety of this nation. Because you see, we have Arabs, we have Chinese, a lot of Chinese military age men with no women, no children, no family, no nothing. And they're coming through our borders, the Mexican border, because the Mexican border is such a joke. And we have Chinese spies coming through the Mexican border. We have Arabs, we have Cubans, we have everybody. And Indians and Russians, Ukrainians, all of them are coming through the Mexican border. It's not just a situation where it's, oh, hola, ¿cómo estás? Coming through. It is more than that. We have every race coming through. What do you think about that, Chronic?
Well, we don't really have a country. They're just coming here. It's like we're just a big shopping mall. They're just coming here to take advantage of the economics, or if they're political enemies or military enemies, they're coming here to ensure the destruction of the states.
Mm.
Kind of based to threaten a journalist. I don't really like journalists. Don't really know if this journalist is a good journalist. I don't really want random Arab guys or Middle Eastern guys coming to the country. I don't really want any guys coming to the country. I would be
That's
fine.
understandable.
I would be fine taking a cool 8 million females under the age of 26 into the country, but that's not who's jumping the border. It's a bunch of men.
Exactly. Military age men. I'll give you another story. Joe Biden says that he will shut down the border if disaster deal goes through. This article goes on to say Biden is begging Congress to pass a bipartisan Senate bill that will give more money to Ukraine and other countries.
Mm.
In exchange, the bill will limit the number of illegal border crossings to 5,000 per day instead of
Only 10,000 instead of 5,000. Is that what you're saying?
the quote unquote toughest and fairest set of reforms to secure the border we've never had in history, end quote. Biden claims that he will shut down the border the moment that this bill is passed. So he's basically saying, I have the power to shut it down, but I won't do it until I get my way. I really don't give a damn about the American people. I'm going to do what I want. Biden also dared Republicans to reject the deal, which is likely to happen, of course, especially since there's been no follow up on the threat that he and his administration made against Texas on Thursday. The rhinos, which are Republicans in name only, chronic, the rhinos supporting the deal claim that the bill will force Biden to do his job and secure our national border, as if there weren't already laws that compel him to do so.
I mean, it's just a joke. I mean, the whole thing's a joke. It's just we'll reduce it to only 5,000 people a day. We don't have a country. We need to get ready for the countries that are coming next in
Mm-hmm.
this land.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, like, people are just they just don't want to get black bagged and killed by the feds, because if you move too early, the feds will kill you, and if you move too late, well, you're gonna get killed by the feds or by, like, some BLM riot or some Antifa riot or some far right riot or whatever it is. You just
Hmm.
gotta know when to move and where to move. But these illegals coming in, it's just like, hey, 10. Let's say by the time this is all over, 30,000 Arab men that don't speak English come in, and they're dispersed, and they're not really surrounded by a big Arab community. Guess what's going to happen to them if things collapse?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be good things.
Well, yeah, I know.
So I,
Is my video doing well?
you're doing good now. You kind of cut out once, or your video is frozen now, but
It's still frozen?
not anymore. No, not anymore.
That's strange. Okay,
You're
but as
fine.
long as you can hear me, as
No,
long
you're
as you can hear me, I don't really care about being frozen. Just as long as you
you're
can
not
hear me, I'm
frozen.
good.
You're not frozen anymore. You're fine now. I'm not streaming the StreamYard video, just the audio.
Okay, so here we go. Here's the next one I want to give you, Chronic. Disregarding Trump. After a jury determined that Donald Trump was guilty of slandering his grape accuser, you remember the horse face porn star that said that
Yeah.
he was,
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, but after a jury determined that Donald Trump is guilty of slandering his grape accuser and awarding her $83.3 million jury said judgment, Donald Trump's attorneys discovered that his accuser's attorney and the judge have a conflict of interest that was not previously disclosed.
Hmm.
Manhattan federal judge Lewis Kaplan and the attorney Roberts Kaplan, no relation, reportedly worked together back in the 90s. In fact, Judge Kaplan was the attorney Kaplan's mentor. This likely adds in some muscle to Trump's appeal, and as his attorneys will be adding the assertion of ethics violation into it. In light of the discovery, some legal experts are questioning the size of the award as well, which, again, the jury thought was appropriate for Trump, saying that his accuser's great claim against him was a hoax. So they still awarded this woman, Chronic, these false accusations that we always speak about against men, that women never get punished for doing this. $83 million for a false accusation.
That's the country we
83
live in. I mean, Alex Jones lost what, $1 billion for for schizo ranting, right? I mean,
Right.
it's just whatever they want to say. Everything, it's all correct. All the courts are correct. They're all corrupt. I mean, look out how the family courts have been operating for decades. So it's the whole. I'm trying to find a part of the system that's not just full of it. The best maybe. I can't even say the national parks are good because they're not even that good. I don't know.
Chronic. This is you know how bad this is, Chronic. These are women who know that they can just get away with that. And you know what? If it's ever proven that she did this falsely, it's all false, nothing will happen. $83 million. That woman's vagina is not worth $83 million. I don't care
Nope.
if it was
Nope.
robbed, snatched, cut open, and sliced open. I don't care what happened to it. It's not worth 83 million. There's no such thing as a
Oh.
golden puniti. It doesn't exist.
Oh, you're too based. You're too
I'm
based for
sorry,
me.
Connor.
You gotta tell
This
me
is
offline. You gotta tell me what countries I gotta go to get a wife. You gotta help me out here.
We've already talked about this, Chronic. Now we already talked about this. Now you should have listened to me the first time when it was me and my husband telling you. We told you together, so you should know already. But Chronic, you always speak about this. You always speak about feminism and the women and how, and everybody always comes to me and sends me emails, Chronic, talking about how I'm always on the men's side and oh, everything just to be against women because I guess I want to be picked by all the men. This is the reason
Even though
why
you're
I'm
married.
always no, 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 Chronic. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because apparently I am so desperate for the attention of men that I have to always speak against women. I am hateful to women so that men can accept me. No, I see all the bull crap that's happening, and that's the reason why I'm speaking out against it.
Come
This
on,
has
guys.
nothing.
Come on, guys. Stop gatekeeping misogyny. Stop. Anybody. Okay, I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what color you are. I don't care, who you sleep with. Anybody can be a misogynist. You could be a misogynist today. Anybody can do it. So take pride in it in your culture. Thank you.
You're right. You're right. I need to be proud. I need to be strong and brave. Remember, stunning and brave,
Stunning,
because
brave, and misogynistic. That's the key to success.
literally, Chronic. I am so. Oh my god. All right, I'll give you one more. Okay, I'll give you one more story.
Well, think
These are
about
all stories.
think about women who are misogynistic in their personal lives, right?
Hmm.
They don't trust women that are around their husbands. All the women I know that are, I'll say, very protective of their husbands in
Hmm.
public
Hmm.
will typically treat them wonderfully, and their men of very high value, right? So, like example, I don't think you would be cool if you were like at a house party and some chick just walked up and sat on your husband's lap. I think you would probably get in a fight pretty fast.
I wouldn't have to. My husband is not against laying
There you go.
hands on a woman.
There you go. There you go.
I wouldn't have to.
So, what's your next topic here?
Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. The UN, the United Nations, is paying
Oh, it's the
Chronic. I
Satanic
didn't even
Council. Okay,
Chronic. I
sorry.
didn't even get
The UN, the Satanic Council. Got it. Okay.
literally. But anyway, the UN is paying illegals with American taxpayer money. Some time ago, fact checkers claimed that the United Nations was not doing what they were, in fact, just got caught doing. Um, the UN and its 248 advocacy partners have been giving illegal aliens from Latin America headed to America gift cards paid mostly by dun, 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 you. You as the American taxpayer. You
So
are the
where
one that the IRS
where are
wait, wait,
they
wait,
give?
one second, Chronic. You are the one that the IRS comes and points a gun at your head and tells you that you need to give money to daddy government or you are going to jail. You are the one who's paying for these gift cards for these Latin American. Go ahead. Go
What
ahead,
kind of
Chronic.
gift cards are they?
We'll probably Target, I would assume.
Visa? No, like Visa gift cards. You can use them anywhere, right?
Accepted anywhere, right?
Okay. So they
All
probably
right.
it's probably an NGO that's handing them out, right? They probably
Oh,
fund some NGO in Mexico that directly the UN gives them money to hand out gift cards to the migrants. That's probably what's happening, right? So there's probably a depot or a collection or at least some kind of network that these NGOs are using in Mexico, most likely northern Mexico, could be Tijuana, could be somewhere else.
hmm,
I don't know.
hmm,
It's the Rio they're crossing. I'm not sure how
hmm.
close they're handing out these gift cards, but anyhow, what I'm saying is there's a group of liberal, most likely white English speaking fucks destroying our country, loaded up with a shit ton of disposable cash. Hey, my
Mm.
Mexican Brutas, if you're in North Mexico, I'm just letting you know there's a lot of really fucking soft American targets in northern Mexico with a lot of money. A lot of money. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying if that's what they're doing, yeah. I hope to God they got security and they better not have hired the blue helmets because we all know those guys are useless unless it's about touching kids in Haiti. Sorry.
Chronic, relax. The article
No, that's true.
goes
No, that's
on.
fact. No, that's facts. They tried them in court, like public court. They
Okay,
were they were
hold on.
they
The
were
article
smuggling kids in Haiti. The blue helmets.
I get it, but the article goes on and it answers part of your question because you were asking like what type of cards or what have you. It goes
Mhm.
on like this, and it says the United Nations quote unquote cash and voucher assistance program end
Mm.
quote aims to hand out a total of 1.59 billion dollars to those seeking to invade America and has so far funded the illegal immigration of 624,300 illegal aliens up until now.
$1.9 billion open for the taking. If you're kind of in coyote culture, if you're in northern New Mexico, if you're in northern Mexico, if you're associated with this whole cluster from Mexico side, it's not really a lot of law and order. Really, it's not. Surprise. Um, because the Mexican government can't be seen as directly supporting this. So in an area where there's not a lot of law and order, but a shit ton of money, I'm just saying, guys, it's a lot of money. I get it. Look, the government's taking our money and giving it to people that hate us, that want to take more of our money. It's like this been, pretty much 99% of government spending is exactly what that is, right? So rich CEOs that build airplanes in 50 states that are obsolete can get another super yacht. I get it. But there's an opportunity here, at least for entrepreneurial men to get access to $1.9 billion. And I'm happy that opportunity exists. I'll say it like that.
Maybe that's what's keeping our economy running, It's the washing of money. It probably has something to do with that. Who knows? But I have another article for you regarding Oprah. Now, I'm looking here. I'm not going to show them to you because I don't know if I'll get in trouble for showing these to you, but this is layout. I'm looking at layouts of Oprah's property in Lahaina, whatever, Hawaii,
Mm.
and she purchased this on the 6th of October in 2017. And then she had an architect named Jeff Woolley, and his company is called Jeff Woolley Architecture PLLC from New York. Now, why is she not using the people in Hawaii to build her property? Why wouldn't she use the Hawaiian people to do it? Why is she using people from the continental US and taking them over there? Because typically what you would do is use the people there, right? Because you're also helping out the industry in Hawaii. You're helping out giving jobs to people of the place where you're buying a home. But that's not what Oprah is doing. She's doing this because there's something shady about what's going on here. So here it is. It says, let me see. I'm just gonna read a little bit of it because I'm looking at the layout. So Oprah, in the vast Maui lands, she brought private roads, enough solar power to to give electricity to 1,000 homes. And there's new evidence of a new underground bunker. We have on the pictures, there's a layout that looks like she was almost building a home, but then the next picture shows that that home was covered with dirt and grass.
It was probably just a huge underground bunker.
Exactly. That's what it is. And Oprah's compound in Maui, the footprint is massive. There's over 50 structures dotting her lands, 50 of them dotting her land in her property in Maui. It goes on. I there's
Quick
Oh, here we
aside,
go.
quick
It,
aside. Do you remember that dude that told us he was Native American despite being black, and he literally just misread, like he just didn't understand the English language enough to know that they weren't actually Sioux. It was they changed the tribe, like what they changed the
yes,
tribe meant from to. I'm sorry, that
yes,
was
that was epic.
I someone said that in the chat, and I'm just like I just remembered that whole brand of stupidity. Um, yeah, I think Oprah's obviously she's super rich. She's like what 6 billion is her net worth more something I don't know
I
crazy
don't
amount.
know. I don't even know why she's rich. She doesn't do
She
anything.
got a lot of skeletons to bury. I don't know why she's building it in Hawaii, but rich people are gonna do rich people things. Yeah, what are they gonna do? Abuse children there? Maybe they
Mhm.
islands for that. I mean, that's
Mhm.
obvious. I mean, just look at the
Mhm.
ton. I mean, you don't. How should I say this? There was a guy on Twitter, and in 2022, he was like on Twitter, he was just like, I'm hearing Yiddish under my floorboards. Why are there Jewish people tunneling under my apartment, right? And he was like in Central Park, and all of his friends were roasting him on Twitter. Someone's like, take this down, like he almost got canceled. And then like 6 months later, he like tweeted out, it was more deranged, just like, I swear to God, there are Jews tunneling under my apartment. And if you just said that to someone randomly, it's like, there's Jews tunneling under my house, people like, you're effing crazy, man. Like, shut up. But then they literally found the tunnels and I went under his house. And he tweeted us, it's like, I knew it, you mother.
Yep. Yep. And I wouldn't be surprised. When you said New York, I was like, obviously
Yep.
it's true.
Yeah, so they do that in New York. People, craziness is happening everywhere. People just don't notice because they turn on their streaming services and like turn their brains off, and they get angry when someone they know gets violently attacked in the streets, or when them or their friends get in a car crash with an illegal. Do you know how many of my damn friends have gone in car crashes with illegal
With
drivers
illegal
with no
immigrants. Yep.
insurance?
Yep.
I'll tell you right
Mhm.
now, dude.
And you'll never find them again.
I'll tell you right now, man, I will turn a taco into a goddamn chalupa if some dude crashes into me with no insurance. Okay, I'm going to get my blood money out. I'm going to at least get some entertainment for the $10,000 damage you get to do my goddamn car. I'm like, hey, you got one of those Visa credit cards? You got one of those NGA? Yo, give me those. Yeah, I know the UN hooked you up, bro. I know the UN hooked you up, and I'm going to extract that value from you to pay for my car. No insurance companies needed.
Yakub says that she got rich off of human trafficking, probably along with Bill Gates. What they did in Africa, if anybody knows what they did in Africa.
Yeah, well, Africa is just. I feel bad for Africans. It's just
Africa, not even
Africa is God's. It's like God's pot. He's just like, I'm just gonna keep this on fire no matter what. It's gonna be shit going down.
Africa is extremely abused, extremely robbed. We already know that. I mean, with China going into Africa and taking all their, but you know what? If Africa doesn't defend itself, I know we're talking about a whole continent
At
here,
least I think
but
Ethiopia, Nigeria, Kenya, they're moving in the right direction. Those ones, but so many other like South Africa is it's over because
it's
you know
yeah.
why South
Mhm.
Africa is over. I'll say this very in very
The
blatant
race
terms.
wars.
I'll say this in very blatant terms. South Africa is over because a white country needed manual labor and it imported millions of blacks who succeeded with their manual labor, who learned skills and lived peacefully with whites. And then once there was a certain threshold of black Africans in the country, they were having tons of kids. Food was easy, water was clean. Medicine, this prospering country. They said white people are evil. Take them out of power, and they put in radical black leftists. And the reason why South Africa is going to suffer so much is because the black population there is 10,000 times what it naturally would be without white people. And when you remove the white people, it's going to go back to natural levels because we have something called carrying capacity. And there's too many black people living there. There's not enough food. So it's famine time. And when I see pictures of little South African babies, it's like, save the babies. I'm going to remember their songs, Kill the Boer. And I'm going to say, fuck them. Hey, go ask Oprah for some money. Hey,
Chronic.
go ask 2 Chainz for some money.
Oh, okay. Chronic, you what you're saying is right, but do the rest of you guys know what Bill Gates did too in Africa? I think they were working together, but I know that Bill Gates went off on his own and did a few other things in Africa, and most of those things included testing medicines, testing things on these people that they thought that they were getting one thing, and they ended up being sterilized. The women were sterilized.
I think a big thing too is what people don't understand about South Africa is the majority of black South Africans were replaced, right? It's like, they talk about the white genocide happening today. Yeah, there was basically the same thing, but with black South Africans back in the day, because they just let the gates, because there was a lot of white leftists that kind of went into the apartheid state, and they were like, well, we need labor, let's bring in some immigrants. And so all the black immigrants from other African countries simply outnumbered, like by ungodly amounts, the black South Africans who were skilled in farming and the trades. So you have basically a massive illegal immigrant, like let in by the countries, like from other countries. You just, us in America don't notice it, because you can't really tell the difference between black African ethnicities. They're mostly all just black to you. They're mostly all just black to me because I haven't really seen the different ethnicities enough to distinguish it.
Well, it's
But
the same with
South Africa
Asians
is kind of
or
collapsing
white.
because of all these immigrants. So we're
Right.
basically heading that. Then they got the racial thing, but still, what were you saying? I
Well,
interrupted you.
I was trying to say that you know, that's how it is for most races. We can't really tell them. We can't tell the difference between them when you're not one of them because you can't tell. Just like Chinese and Asians, and not Asian, Chinese, Koreans, and
No.
so on. There are differences between them, but we can't really tell. Same thing with Africans. We can't really tell unless you're one of them. But
Yep.
the thing with Africa is that a lot of people think of Africa when everybody thinks about Africa, especially in America, they believe Africa is all black, all sub-Saharan black, not knowing that South Africa is all white. Well, it was all white for a second there,
Not anymore.
and
Yeah,
that
it
Northern
hasn't
Africa,
been white in a while,
and
but North Africa is very brown. It's not
and
black.
that Northern Africa is mostly like Mediterranean. It's mostly Greek and Spanish and
Arab too.
Arab.
It's a
You
good
know,
mix.
go ahead.
It's a
What?
good mix. No, you're right. It's a good mix. You got black
Right,
tribes that are very light skinned too, south of the Sahara. And you have other
right.
tribes
So,
that are like tiny. You got like you actually have pygmies. When's the last time you saw a pygmy? You probably have never seen a pygmy.
well, what
But
I was trying to say is that a lot of Westerners, when they think of Africa, that's all they think about is like tribes and huts,
yep.
and that's not what it is. Africa is a beautiful place with glowing cities.
I think of San
With,
Francisco. I think of tribe. I think of tribes and huts.
I
I'm
mean,
not
that's
even.
any Democrat city at this
I'm
point.
not even
Mhm.
kidding.
That's true.
I did a story. It performed pretty well. It was about this gang war in Seattle. So
Mm.
they set up this giant tent across from their downtown hospital, very prestigious hospital, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And they were
Yeah.
selling fentanyl out of this tent. And one of the guys, his friend, the guy's name was Foolish, I guess. He got killed. And without Foolish, the king, who was called Coconut, got kicked out of his fentanyl tent and they stole his fentanyl. So he came back and made an IED and blew up the tent and like lit it on fire across the street from the hospital. And then all the homeless people ran across the street with their fentanyl and climbed the trees in the local park where like all like the patients and their families would walk. Now there's a bunch of homeless people living up in the trees and they call them the tree people. That's Seattle. Okay. Tribes and gang wars and fentanyl and just foolishness is happening in the US already. That's downtown Seattle. It's happening everywhere. I mean, look at the Chaz and Chop. You had Tifa acting a fool. You know, what is it? They had those two black kids steal the car and drive to the Chaz Chop, and then like five Antifa guys with AR-15s put over like 500 rounds into this like little car. They like hyped each other up too. They're like, the white supremacists are coming. They're Donald Trump sending the KKK special ops towards us. And in the car, it's like two black teenagers that just carjack someone. They're like, yeah, fuck the white guy. And then they get shot up by a bunch of white commies. It's like, that's just hilarious. Oh, it's funny.
We're gonna have a lot of that this year, Chronic. I don't know if you know, but we're gonna have a crazy year this year.
That's why
This
I'm
year is gonna
thinking.
be one for the history books.
That's why I'm thinking about covering it on Rumble. It's gonna be so goddamn crazy. You know, people gonna. You know, there's gonna be someone that like. You know what? I should maybe. You know, what I should do. I should make a 2024 election bingo card.
A what?
A bingo card.
Oh, bingo.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, this year is going to be one for the history books because, like, we have already a civil war going on in the United States. We are already at war
You what?
civilly
You know
because the
what?
reason why I say there's a civil war is because if you look at the states, now you should cover this when you start doing politics, Chronic. But if you look at the states are going against one another right now, saying that they won't put Donald Trump on the ballot if this doesn't happen or if that
You know
doesn't
what? Their.
happen.
You know what
These
their
are the
plan.
one
You
second,
know what their
Chronic. Let me
plan to that
finish,
is,
Chronic.
right?
Chronic, let me finish my sentence really quickly. I'll give you a chance. I just want to finish this. But I'm telling you that these states are already going against one another civilly. We're already in a civil war. And another thing that's happening is that America is in a racial war. We're in a racial war. So basically, we're fighting against ourselves. And I believe that the other nations, when they see America fighting against herself civilly in the civil war that we're already in, I believe that that's the time that they're going to take advantage to attack us when we're too busy attacking one another.
Well, do you know why they're taking Trump off the ballot, right?
For as many reasons, yeah.
So, like, let's what? Okay, let's look at California. Do you think Trump would ever win California? No. Okay, but they want to take him off the ballot. Do you know why they want to take him off the ballot in California?
Go
So
on.
that at the end of election night, even if the Republicans would have won the electoral college, right? Because most elections are like, it's like 51%, 49%, 50-50, or,
Mm.
it's pretty close. Um, if you don't count the Republican votes in California, New York, and where else, you can tell the Democrat voter base that, there was 3 times as many votes for Biden as there were for Trump. And this is why we need to get rid of the electoral college. This is why this is a disgrace. Well, it's because you didn't count the votes for Trump in California, New York, and these places. You took them off the ballot. So they're going to use it to whip up the activist base to, like, if Trump wins, to literally burn down this country. They're going to be like, "Turn, this isn't democracy." Like, that's their ploy. That's why they're doing that. People are going to die in the streets because they truly believe that the Democrats are going to get like 3 times as many votes as Republicans because Donald Trump was taken off the ballot.
That's something that I see them doing. They're constantly accusing Donald Trump of being a fascist and being a racist and so on. But you already know this is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm seeing more black people wake up and realize that the Democrats are using them like they view them like animals.
Same.
But
Same.
they wake up and then they get attacked by other black people. It's kind of like being a black person and coming out as conservative is like being a Muslim person and coming out as gay. You're basically saying bye to community.
Hmm. Thank you so much for the super chat, or cash app rather, AC. He said, "I'm sending you $2 to ask Undead Chronic to please debate Yakub." Who is Yakub?
Yakub, is he a commenter on your videos or?
Yakub is he's Jacob, but I call him Yakub. I call people on my Pride different names, but is that who you're talking about, AC? You're talking about my Pride member?
I don't know.
But he says, please debate Yakub. So that was for you, Chronic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always open to debates and discussions. I'm not one to like per se challenge. I guess I would say it's open if he wants to do it, but I'm not going to challenge him per se because he just seems to be like a friend of one of my streamer friends. Like it's like I don't have no beef with some random guy. And does he have a
Right.
channel? Probably not. So like
He
what?
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if he wants to debate, he can come debate. But if he doesn't want to, I'm going to respect his urge or want for privacy.
Well, AC, you can clarify that if you clarify that if you get a chance. He says, I would send money to your super chat. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just clarify what you meant. Dio says, "Oh, Dio, if you want to join, I'll put the link in the chat, guys. You guys can join as well if anybody wants to talk to Chronic, because I have a few people who are very big brain here in my chat who
I
would
love
have
it.
a great conversation with you." Dio says Africa was a trial run for the COVID vaccine. What do you think about that, Chronic?
I didn't really hear anything about that. I don't know. You have to give me like papers or evidence or receipts or something.
Well, there's plenty. You know that there's plenty, right? Because Bill Gates was the one who was making these medicines. And now Bill Gates is the one who wants to be in charge of the vaccine. Well, he is in charge of the vaccine currently. So when you think about a man who was in Africa sterilizing people and causing death and destruction in the African continent, and then he's coming here to America to then say, oh, there's a crisis, there's a vaccine that needs to be managed. Now I'm here to manage it. Chronic, what more evidence do you need?
No,
DL,
I don't. Well, I don't know what you mean. I don't. Well, the thing is the question. I don't know what you mean by Africa was a trial run for the COVID vaccine. Like, do you mean they
DL is
used African populations as test subjects for coronavirus vaccines, or do you mean like the healthcare policies? Or are you saying there was something else in the vaccine besides what they said was in it? Like, I don't know what they're saying. There's too many people with too many definitions of what that means. So you're gonna have to redefine it or explicitly say what you're saying.
I'd say it's a little bit of a biology test, but mostly it was a sociology test. They wanted to see what they could get away with people. They ran out there, they started sterilizing people. And if you look at what's happened to people since that, there have been issues with fertility. They found that the prion-like spike protein particles do build up in the ovaries and testes. They found that this does, in fact, have long-term, or at least seems to predict long-term.
Well, they did find that, right? But they also found that wild type, if you call it wild type, the coronavirus that was floating around, not the vaccine, that also accumulates in the ovaries and testes.
Oh, yeah,
so it would make sense to me, and I'm not saying that this is a fact. I'm just saying it would make sense to me that if there's a virus that has its antigens or part of its spike proteins, because the virus has spike proteins, not just the vaccine, was found in the ovaries and testes. If you did a vaccine that would make these spike proteins or would make a virus or make any part of it, that you would see it in the ovaries and testes.
Yeah, and I mean, that is.
Do you mean that they were testing? What you say? They're testing the actual coronavirus vaccine on African people, and then they brought it here. But you said it was more policy.
No,
but
no,
I think like for Africa, like I wouldn't really. There's such, I don't know. Maybe if you're talking about like downtown Mombasa, I don't know. I don't think there's much. I don't think
what they did was they administered quote unquote vaccines to the local population that had sterilizing effects.
Mm-hmm.
And then they measured not only the local response, but also the international response to what happened afterwards. And they used that to build their models for what they're doing now.
I mean, they don't really need to use a vaccine to crash the fertility rate. All they need to do is give women more freedom. Like, I don't know. Like, it sounds cool to me, but from like a grand scheming perspective, the fertility rate in South Korea is 0.6.
In certain populations, if you look at it, if you did it by IQ, you would find that the most high IQ people are putting off having children and don't have children out of wedlock. And no matter what race, this is going to be true across the board.
Okay, but
low IQ people make babies out of wedlock.
Western countries, it's negative. The fertility rate's negative. You lose in population here.
Well, yeah, but they want to lose population. They just want to make sure they're losing the right population. They don't want to end up in an idiocracy situation. So they want to make sure that they kill off all the dumb babies. They want to make sure only their super smart Gates babies survive.
Well, why don't they just genetically engineer it? They don't need to do like a widespread culling effect. They can just engineer the kids, and then the wild population, the normies, are going to kill themselves anyhow by not having kids because women want to twerk on Instagram, right? Like you don't need to treat them like some kind of genetic stock. You can just use genetic engineering, right? They do it in China.
Really quickly, Dio and Chronic. We have Dr. Forthwall. I think he wanted to join in on the conversation because he found it interesting. Doctor, what would you like to say? Is there anything that you want to bring in? Are you with Dio or are you with Chronic in this argument?
I mean, both arguments do sound very convincing, but I'd have to support Chronic on this matter a lot more. It's, like you said, they could probably just genetic engineer if they, want more appealing types of genes.
Well, quick question then. How many designer babies are currently being produced in the United States?
That's like asking, in the States? I would say it's probably under 100. Would I be surprised if it's 0? No. Would I be surprised if it's not 0? No, I wouldn't.
So if we're not producing
that stuff on wraps, they're not going to tell if they had it, right? They're not going to tell us about it.
Yeah. So if we're not producing them, then that's not really a viable option for them to use instead of this, then, though, is it?
Well, that's like a cathedral, right? It's like, well, we're not really producing cathedrals, sir. Why are we working on this cathedral? We should send those men out to the fields. No, because my father started this cathedral, and my son's going to finish it.
I have a question for you guys. Are you guys saying that designer babies do not exist? Because I know to the contrary.
Yeah, they exist, but they're not common enough and not mass producible enough to currently be a viable option for full population replacement.
Well, you're trying to argue like someone else's detailed views, right? I'd rather just talk about the plans, right? So you think they want what? Thousands of genetically selected people, hundreds of thousands, millions? Like I don't like. I'm not sure what the end point is here.
I need to
We're
help out
arguing,
the
we're
chat
arguing
really.
about like whether or not they need to do something for this, but like, okay, well, regardless, the population is crashing. Okay. Yes, you said dumb people are reproducing and smart people don't, right? You know what they could do? They could just they could do a lot of IQ tests and they could just buy the eggs of women with 18-year-olds with an IQ above average. Just buy the eggs.
1 minute, guys. Before you continue, keep your idea. Hold on 1 second, because a lot of the people in the chat are confused on what a designer baby is. I'll help you. A designer baby is a baby that is manufactured in the womb. That you can choose what eye color, what gender, what hair color. There are ways now that people, or the scientists, or what have you, you can make your baby. It's a designer baby. It's your design, and you can also get the IQ of the baby that you want. You can, they have so many things that they can do now. Just like Chronic said, you can give your baby the IQ that you want, and just like Dio said, you can get a girl, a boy, whatever color, skin tone, yeah, everything. So that's a designer baby, guys. In case you guys don't know, there's ways to do this. Continue, Dio. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's all right. I was just going to say that we know they've already been doing this. Like the woman that was in charge of setting up Planned Parenthood, the abortion clinics, actually came out and stated that was a large part of why she did it was to lower the black population. They wanted to make sure that it was their people going forward that they retained, and they wanted to make sure that other populations didn't get too big and overwhelm the system. So I think a lot of that is the foundations that were already set.
So you're comparing eugenicists in the 20s to the New World Order eugenicists, theoretically, that want smart people alive and dumb people not, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. I think most people who describe themselves as eugenicists, they probably have a selection of genes they see as good. Margaret Sanger, was that her name? The Planned Parenthood chick? She thought that any genes that were white were good, and black, of course, blacks had bad genes, so she wanted Planned Parenthood to spread. And supposedly Bill Gates thinks people with a low IQ are less valuable, and so he's supposedly using, vaccines to do stuff. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. That's like saying, two dudes who are horny for different chicks are both gonna have a hard on. Okay, yeah, eugenicists have genes they select. That's not like the foundation, though, right? I wouldn't say that Planned Parenthood's a foundation for that, because if you go out and say, well, white genes being superior is a foundation for Bill Gates vaccines, no, he's giving everybody the vaccines.
Well, they are narrowing down a little bit on what they want. So before it was, let's get rid of the blacks. Now it's, let's get rid of the blacks. Let's get rid of the dumb whites. Let's get rid of all the trailer trash. Let's get rid of all the people who vote Republican. Let's get rid of all of them. So they did narrow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But these are the same people working for the same goals. If you look at the original German arguments that were used, part of it was what we see now in the left today with this whole anti-colonial sentiments and preserve our people's land for our people. It's mirrored pretty much exactly in the modern left today. But the other aspect was an attempt to evolve the human species and create an Übermensch, a superior human being. And some of that, yes, they were very obsessed with blue eyes and blonde hair, but a lot of it too was the physical fitness of the specimen. A lot of it was the intellect of the specimen. They wanted to improve humanity in the levels of their functionality and not just focus purely on the aesthetics. These weren't people out there going out trying to make purebred poodles.
Okay, so what's wrong with that?
Well, I mean, in and of itself, nothing. I greatly admire the Chinese for trying to make people who are they put the water bear DNA to try and make them resistant to radiation. But the fact is,
let me just say something. You think there's this group of people who are using vaccines, which have not been proven to cause more infertility problems than being infected with corona, and they're doing this eugenics thing across races because they're eugenicists. And I don't really have an argument against that, because I feel like that is more akin to that's just, like, first of all, there's what are you going to do about it, right? It's like, what are you going to do about family court? I'm not going to go attack family court judges. And then two, there's a lot of belief there, right? There's a lot of, I don't know what these people really believe because they don't really, they'll say things in public, they'll lie. That's what billionaires do. And I don't know. I'm not saying it's a boring conversation, but it's not really one I'm interested in having.
Well, I think the big difference for me is whether or not they're murdering millions and millions of people. I mean, you want to improve the human race, you want to genetically engineer some superhumans in a lab and let them loose and they have babies that are superior. Okay, I'm good with that. You want to go out there and start injecting people with things that will kill them? You lost me. I'm just not in for that.
So millions are okay, but millions have been dying every year regardless. And we have an abortion
The
industry.
death rate is going up.
Okay,
This is well known. This is documented. We have children dying on the field. They're having heart attacks.
Well, children dying on the field is a different conversation than just saying the death rate's going up.
We didn't
What do you
get.
think the death rate is?
Wait.
You want me to tell you what the death rate is? It's more than just children dying. It's everybody dying. And so if the death rate spikes, it's not spiking at such a level because children are dying. It's spiking at such a level because we're aging out. The parents of the boomers and the boomers are starting to die. That's why the death rate's spiking. They're a larger proportion of the population.
I want to get Doctor in on it. Doctor.
Well, my overall opinion of all this, really, it's mostly just some big power play, just a big power and control play, just the government, like I said, they're basically testing what authority, what control they have over the NPCs. At least that's my thoughts.
Oh, I agree that this whole lockdown thing was this giant, even if it wasn't designed as a test, it was a test. And I think the government got very good results. I think they're very happy with what happened. There were
they got the NPCs to
were lambasted. They were arresting people who were doing live streams on Facebook Marketplace. Like they weren't even seeing people, and they would send cops to their house and like, you got to close your business. The hell does that got to do with any kind of virus? It has nothing to do with it. I think it was more. I think
exactly.
the problem was definitely more political in nature that I saw.
A lot of that business.
We could all be infertile in 20 years, and then I'd be sitting there with my microscopic testes, and I'll say, "What's your name, dude? Whatever your name is." I'll be like, "Oh, he was right."
Dio.
Diogenes, yeah, Dio.
I'm sorry. I want to change the subject really quickly because I call Dio, right? And I don't really know how to say his real name. I don't really know, but I've noticed that everybody in the Pride has started to call him Dio as well, and I appreciate that. I don't know if you. I don't think you're offended by it, right, Dio?
No, it's cool. It's not even my real name. It's more personal philosophy.
Do you want anyway? We don't have to go into what it means. I mean, I don't want to change the subject that much. But did you guys hear what we were talking about earlier about Chronic always talks about feminism. He always talks about how these things are interconnected with, Chronic is like a mad scientist. He always talks about how these things are interconnected with biology and how the societal things that we do affect women's biology, mostly women, but also men. Just like the simp behavior, how it's gone out of control now, how men are not the same anymore. Testosterone has dropped, not just because of the things in our environment, but also because of how men don't have a struggle. They don't have challenges anymore. They aren't treated the way that they used to be. They also are not allowed to be men anymore. Like all the manly behaviors in America or the West are seen as negative, and they are discouraged from childhood. So I wanted to get you guys' view on this because Dio has, Chronic, in case you don't know, Dio has some very strong views about society, and he partially believes that we should all just give up and just basically not even work anymore because we're supporting the system that is killing us. He says we're supporting a system that's killing us. So why do it anymore? It's kind of like what you say, Chronic, when you say that you're going to give up on marriage and go get a robot womb. That's kind of the same thing that Dio says, but he says it societally. You say it biologically. Do you guys want to comment on that?
I mean, I think we've had this conversation before. I can see that perspective. If you think there's no way out, period, end of story, then just enjoy your life, man. Whatever makes you happy. If you don't, if you think there's some way it's going to fix itself, and you want kids, then you have to find a way to support them. I'm sure there's a way to support them without using currency. I'm sure there's some places you can go and like live in the wild per se, as they know, and not have the feds kill you. But yeah, so that's what I think about that. It's not really much in depth I can really go.
I think the big thing with that particular philosophy is I believe no taxation without representation. I believe that if we're going to go forward as a society and fix these problems, we need to quit paying for the problems. Because let's say I go out and I mug you and I take $20.
Damn it.
And I show up the next day and I mug you and you got another $20.
Damn
And as
it.
long as you keep letting me take that $20, I'm going to keep showing up to mug you. But if you give me a couple of busted teeth
Yeah,
and I got no money to show for it, I'm going to stop.
It'd be nice if you got enough people doing a tax strike at the same time, but it's not. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think there's too many people. There's too many people addicted to the pleasures of the system, and they're not going to listen to any kind of. You can give the best argument. There's no combination of words you can use to convince normies, NPCs, 19-year-olds twerking on Instagram to stop working, to stop paying taxes because it's the system that's killing them. You're not gonna convince them. So I think at best it's gonna be a personal protest and like maybe a symbol. But it's not gonna be something that spreads and causes the end of the system. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Chronic, am I wrong? Just really quickly, am I wrong to say that Dio's idea is a form of giving up and just allowing? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. I say it's more like the enemy armies coming in, so you're going to burn down your orchard so they don't have fruit to eat as they siege you. That's what I see.
Russian scorched earth.
Yeah, it's not really. I wouldn't say it's giving up. It's more like I'm not gonna produce for the enemy.
Well, it's not really giving up. It's more of a letting go. That's how I see it.
It's a passive resistance. I'd say if you don't want them to do something, don't pay for it. But moreover, the important thing for this, I'd say, is that the rights you possess were never guaranteed to you by the state, but rather by the state of nature. And Hobbes wrote about this a whole lot. And what he said was that if you drive men away, productive men, from producing, because every time they produce, they put a bigger target on themselves, and you just take away everything that they worked for, their life is harder for working, but not enriched by the fruit of their labor, and therefore they will stop working. And therefore it is the purpose of the state to always take just as much as they can from you without driving you back into the state of nature. So the only way to protect yourself is to actually say, no, if you take that from me, if you take everything away that makes my work valuable to me, then it has no value to me and I will stop working.
And you see that happening. It's just dudes don't, they're not vocalizing these feelings. They're just not going to work. They're living in their parents' basement, or they're living with 5 other guys working part-time.
Well, Better Bachelor talked a lot about this before. He's mentioned, you get all these guys living together, and I know you covered the Mommune situation. I think it's about time we started getting more monastery situations. I mean, most civilizations have always had monasteries. Modern civilizations in the West do not. And you have all these young men. They need to get out of their parents' house. They need to be able to live on their own and be productive. We don't want to be a part of the system. I don't want to pay for Tiffany's abortion because she couldn't quit jumping on Chad like he's a pogo stick. So
hey, can we not speak like that?
All right, my bad. But
censor.
Our Will is not here.
I don't want to pay for that is the point. I'd like a third option.
I jump in and you guys are talking about me with my roommates and working. So I feel like personally attacked.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I can't really hear you, Will. I'm sorry, Will.
Thanks for having me on, Lioness. I'm gonna bounce and laugh at some black woman who's giving up on dating. Okay.
Wait, who is it?
I don't know. You'll see. I'll clip it. It'll be its own segment.
All right. Awesome.
Peace.
Thank you, Chronic. Will, your microphone is really bad. I can't really hear you. Hold on. I'll unmute you. Hold on 1 second. There you go. Try again.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just a deal was talking about like men have kind of given the society kind of back to the elites, because I don't think men have anything to gain continuing to work, continuing to build anything, because everything is taken via taxes and everything.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Will. Dio, listen, I'm surprised Undead Chronic actually agrees with you. I'm really surprised because I am completely against that idea that you always propose. And you sound a little bit less black pilled today than normal. Are you okay? Somebody in the chat, I think it was Dr. M. He said, "Are you okay?" Because usually you're more of a end of the world pessimist. I don't give a dang, blah blah blah. But today you seem a little bit less black pilled than usual.
No, it's been a pretty decent day overall, but mostly it's just the situation right now is really good for us.
All right. Well, guys, I'm going to continue on with my scheduled thing. Okay. I'm going to let you guys down because I need to get back to what I was doing. I'll probably bring you guys back up later, but just give me a second. All right.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you guys in a second. Let me get back. Bye, Dio. All right, guys. So back to what I was trying to tell you guys before we were rudely interrupted by Undead Chronic. But anyway, thank you, Chronic, for coming by. I do appreciate it. What was I going to tell you guys? So there is something else I wanted to show you all because there's another thing that I wanted you guys to be aware of here. I don't know if I have this up. Oh, here we go. Mark Zuckerberg. So Mark Zuckerberg, he is building a $100 million hidden compound on his Hawaiian island, and he doesn't want anyone to know about it, of course. He was building it, and he had the people building it, the construction workers, sign an NDA or kind of like a non-disclosure, but to keep it hush hush and secret. The only reason why people know about this bunker is because of the permits. Every time you build something somewhere, you need permits to do so. The word of these permits went out, and now this is the reason why everybody knows about it. Mark Zuckerberg bought his bunker area, that property, in 2014. Oprah bought hers in 2017. So if they are predicting something that's coming, it doesn't mean that it's coming right now, but if they were already preparing for this 8 years ago, 5 years ago, what did they think? I don't know. Maybe they weren't preparing for it back then, and maybe they just all of a sudden decided to make them bunkers. But they've had these properties for a while. And most of these properties are somewhere in the islands in Hawaii or the other surrounding islands. I don't know if Maui is its own island. I'm not really familiar with that area, but it's always somewhere on the islands and off the coast of somewhere because they don't want to be on mainlands when whatever's going to happen happens. They keep on doing these bunkers off on random islands or somewhere far, far away where it's going to be hard to get to unless you know. So I wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys think is coming? Because here, this is regarding the Billionaires Club. These are not the first multi-billionaires to hedge their bets on the fate of humanity. Of course, another billionaire named Frank Vander Sloot, that's his real name, Frank Vander Sloot, which sounds like, I'm not going to say anything. I'll just leave it there. He recently bought a 2,000-acre ranch just south of Mark Zuckerberg's compound. So these billionaires are planning to make their own communities where they can stay together and they can bunker down or hunker down, whatever phrase you want to use, but they're doing this all together. And then there's another thing of buying your own passport. So more and more uber wealthy people have been buying islands. So now they're buying their own personal islands just to make these bunkers in. Richard Branson and Johnny Depp, they topped the list about privately owned islands. You guys already know that. But we don't know if Johnny Depp is making bunkers or not. My question is, what are they really worried about? Some of these people, some of these billionaires are also paying top dollar to become citizens in other nations, in different countries, so that when they do have to run away and go away, they can stay there forever. These are called golden visas, in case you guys don't know. This is what, if someone mentions a golden visa, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about buying your citizenship in another place so that you can run or escape whatever is coming. This effectively allows wealthy people to gain residence and even become citizens in foreign nations and exchange different valuables for cold hard cash. Now, you can say it could be metals, it could be gold, it could be whatever have you, but we're talking about millions in some cases. You know what I mean? So this is something that I don't know. I wonder if you guys are thinking about this or not. It's been going around. People have been speaking on it. I didn't speak about it too much until my husband started talking about it, and he brought up a good point. Why are people running away? Why are they hiding? And if it is the case that something is coming, when are they expecting this thing to come? Because Oprah's compound, her underground bunker thingy, is already been completed. It just finished being completed last year. So she wanted to make sure that she was ready by the year 2024. Why? What do they know? What is coming? And this, I don't know, maybe it's this year or next year. What? Because Mark Zuckerberg, like I told you, he bought his property back in 2014 and his bunker is completed now. So if everybody's bunkers are at completion level now or close to completion level right now, even though they bought their properties 6, 7, 8 years ago, what is it that they know is coming that we don't? Is it a war? Is it a bio weapon? Is it civil unrest? Because another thing is that they're making sure that their bunkers and their areas are far, far away. They want oceans on every side of them. Whatever they're doing, they want oceans on each side of them. So that tells me something. That tells me they don't want any kind of, even though they're already safe in their bunkers, they're also worried about the people, the land around them. They don't want to be on any continental lands. You know what I mean? So these are the things I wanted to bring up with you. And looking at people like freaking Oprah. And one more thing. You guys know that these people have a lot of enemies, especially Oprah. Could it be that there's a time of reckoning coming? Could it be that they know that their roosters are coming to, what is it called? The roosters are coming to roost or whatever. Do they know or do they feel that something is coming? Some kind of payback? Some type of karma? And they're like, let me get away before it comes? Because you already know, people like Oprah, they've done a lot of dirty things in their careers, in their lifetimes, and so on and so forth. That money that they have in their hands, the Clintons ran away. The Clintons are no longer in the U.S. Huh? When they talked about Bill being on the list, on the Jeffrey Epstein list, all of a sudden, he's so sick. And he has to be transported out of this nation, out of the Americas, to be in some kind of a treatment. Now he's so sick that he needs to be in treatment in different lands. I just wonder, what do you guys think is coming? Because looking at the people that we're talking about, there's plenty of reason for these people to run. There's plenty of reason for them to hide. But what do they know that's coming that we don't know? That's my question to you all. You said, Suka says probably a war. If it were war, it doesn't make sense, because even if it's a war, Hawaii is part of America. You can still, acting like Pearl Harbor never happened. It's still part of America. So it can't be a war that they're running from. It seems like a lot of you guys are saying war. I don't know. Oh, thank you, damn Dan. It's chickens coming to roost. Okay, thank you. That, I don't even know if that even makes sense. Do chickens roost? Okay. I don't know, but exactly, Nezzy. Something like a purge. That's what I was thinking. But the purge can only happen if civil unrest happens, if the civilized societal breakdown happens, which is a very strong possibility. Based on this being an election year and what's about to happen, I have met plenty of people in person who have said, if they assassinate Trump, or if they do something to tweak the election this year, that they are ready to go to war. A lot of people have said that in person. They've said, I'm willing, because I can't take this anymore. When you see Joe Biden, did you guys see Joe Biden's recent speeches? He's out there. Did you guys see his most recent speech where he was talking? And he said, he was talking about, oh my God. He was like, we're gonna protect America and something that, but he started blubbering, like slurring, not even slurring. It was like, sorry. He was like, we're gonna America. And then when he said that, all the people behind him were like, bravo, bravo. What you clapping for? And then after that, they started saying 4 more years, 4 more years. 4 more years of what? What do we have that we need 4 more years of? 4 more years of what? Of this economy? 4 more years. Ah! Oh, you scared me. Don't scare me like that. Oh. Speaking of Biden supporters, one just walked into my room. Speaking of Biden supporters, 4 more years. 4 more years of what, Rachel? 4 more years of what?
I don't support Biden for 4 more years.
Oh, not for 4 more years, but you wanted him for the first 4 years.
The alternative is probably Trump, so for that reason, I might support him.
Did you just say that? And now she says that, oh, okay, all right. Well, Rachel has come to visit us because she heard me ranting and she said that she would like to come and speak some sense into me because clearly I'm off my rocker. I haven't taken my medication.
Like you would ever take medication for your problems? No way.
You don't know what type of medications I take. Anyway, so she says that so she's here to set me straight. She's here to speak some common sense into me because how did you get in anyway? How did you get in? Did the butler let you in?
Well, you know, us Democrats, we just kind of find our way in.
Uh-huh.
Where we fit in.
Come here. Oh, how are you?
I'm good.
Hi,
How are
guys.
you?
Guys, Rachel is here. Rachel, everybody say hi, Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Hi. And Rachel says hi to everybody. Hi.
Yeah, you were all just so kind to me last time. I'm so happy to be here again.
They love you.
Mm-hmm.
They actually love you. Don't you guys? You guys love her very much. No, actually, look, there's so many people.
What is your definition of love?
They really do love you. They really do. It's just,
They don't, but it's okay.
it's just, they just want you to see things a little differently. Isn't it right, guys? Isn't that right? Because we love everyone, don't we? Right. So here's the conversation of tonight. Rachel, dear Rachel, here's the conversation. So there are bunkers being built in Hawaii, all over Hawaii. Mark Zuckerberg has some, Oprah has some, a few other billionaires. What do you think that they're running from? And do you see anything coming? You as a liberal Democrat, what do you see coming to this nation? Let's see if she sees anything like us, because I know we are conspiracy theorists. What do you see?
I think this country is going to hell in a handbasket.
Oh, and who do you think is responsible for us going to hell in a handbasket?
Our government's support of Israel.
Our government support of Israel. Oh.
And the likelihood that Trump is coming back into office frightens me.
So Trump frightened you. My daddy Trump scares you?
Oh, God. You know, I kind of like Nikki.
Nikki who? I know you better not be saying Nikki with a Hallie at the end. Did you really? Oh my
I mean,
God.
she's less unhinged than Trump. So
Oh, okay. What's unhinged about Trump?
what's not unhinged about Trump?
No. Don't cop out. What's unhinged about Trump?
He's a convict.
A convict. Okay, first of all, what you're not going to. Okay, he's okay. What? Okay, what is the other thing?
Yes, Nikki is a Democrat. Thank you.
Well, clearly, 3G. That's the only reason. I'm surprised she didn't say what's his name, Ramaswamy.
No, he like him and Trump jerk each other off. They're in bed together.
Can you not speak that way? This is a family
I wouldn't want
program.
to ruin your, traditional wife outlook here. So my apologies.
I'm not a traditional wife. I am a normal American that wants to see this country be great again. Isn't that what we all want, guys?
So am I an abnormal American because I don't want Trump to be in office again ever?
Why are you whispering? Just speak.
I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. Isn't he getting sued for lot of money that he's not going to pay. I think he's appealing it.
You do realize that our companies are being sued. Companies get sued all the time. People get sued all the time. That does not mean that they are bad or that they have done something horrible. People sue people for the most random reasons often. Do you not see that?
Okay, but they're not like running to be president of the state, like of the country. I'm sorry.
Of the state, president of the state. This is the intelligence of
Yeah,
our good old Democrats.
Go ahead.
I know, I got to.
I know
But
you do.
he said, give her the red pill. No, I think we need to start off purple, and then we will slowly start transitioning to red, slowly but surely, guys. Because if I gave her a red pill right now, she would choke and die on it. Wouldn't you?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know what's entailed with this
Yeah.
bill. I do not donate to the Clintons. I actually donate to Doctors Without Borders.
Doctors Without Borders?
Mhm. Yeah, they're helping people in Palestine.
Oh, okay. Do you think that people in Palestine would be happy to see that you're supporting them? I mean,
there was a foundation that stopped supporting them today. The UN something. I'm sorry, I don't remember the acronyms, but
if you lived in Palestine, do you think that the Palestinians will accept you?
I'm Black.
You're not Black, but do you think that the Palestinians would accept you?
Yes.
Why? What about you is acceptable to a
Because I'm
Palestinian?
a minority too.
You think Palestinians see themselves as minorities?
Yes. And the Israelis see themselves as mainstream because they get so much money from America.
So the Israelis feel that they are the majority.
Yes, absolutely. They're white.
Do you know what white means? Oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is my friend. Oh, I want to choke you.
Did I see
She-
post nut clarity? Oh, that's a
What does that mean?
that's a username. Sorry.
What does it mean? Anyway, I'll just move on. I don't want to talk about anything crazy. But what I'm trying to say is this. You believe that whiteness, because they see themselves as white. Do you understand what white even means worldwide? It doesn't mean the same thing that it means in America. America, you guys see things as white and Black. And the rest of the world, if you're Italian, you don't see yourself as white. If you are Polish, if you are Irish, you don't see yourself as white. This is not, you're not understanding that Israelis don't feel like they are white. Yes, they are white skinned, but they're Syrians. They're Syrians that are what? Okay. There are Syrians that are whiter than Israelis, and they don't see themselves as white. So what do you mean by white? Because that, oh my gosh. Oh,
Okay,
your friend is here. Your friend is here. Dio
I
is
don't
back.
think I have any friends.
Dio.
White is like Caucasian is a nationality.
Caucasian is not a
So-
national.
I'm sorry, ethnicity.
Okay. Yes.
My bad.
Okay. And then,
Ethnicity. White Caucasian is an ethnicity.
okay. Okay.
So you can be Israeli, you can be
Did you know that South Asians are also considered Caucasian?
no.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, they're Asian.
The Caucasus Mountains, that region is kind of a Middle Eastern Indian area. These are the first white people in the whole world. They are Caucasian. So when you say Caucasian, are you just talking about pale faces? Or are you talking about the actual race?
Yes, palm faced.
Palm what? This is, see guys, this is, Saudis are white. Arabs are white. Caucasus Mountain. She doesn't even know what the Caucasian race is. So this is why I say a lot of Americans, they see Caucasian, they see like, if you're Caucasian and you have to look this way, they don't understand that the race is made up of more than just pale faces. Anyway,
I will admit and say that I do have a very American lens.
Hi,
right?
Carlos.
So it's challenging to look at it from a global perspective. Like, I'm American, so I do think that I have a bit of, like, I live in a vacuum and I have a bit of a myopic viewpoint on things. So,
But you're well traveled.
mhm. Yeah, I am. But
But
That-
you go to tourist areas. You're not like really.
yeah, but also like that's not applicable to my day to day. I look at it from the perspective of America, which is supposedly the number one country of the world, right? According, is everybody can at least agree with me on that?
What other country would you think is number one other than America?
China.
Get out of my house. Get out. Get out. We
From
have had
an
enough.
economical perspective.
Are you crazy? We have had enough.
Okay, okay,
Girl,
who is
I
the-
cannot believe you just said that. China of all.
Okay, no, put me back on. No.
Oh,
wanna
I
wanna
don't.
be safe.
I don't want to be embarrassed. Oh
No.
my god.
Economy wise. Okay, in terms of who would win in World War III? America, Russia, China. Those are the three people that would actually be able to come to the table.
And America will eviscerate every single,
I don't know.
every
the
single
Chinese-
tight-eyed,
the Chinese,
every
are-
single vodka drinking Russian, every single Iranian, every single North Korean will be eviscerated.
Well, the Chinese people, they're encroaching on Taiwan that has the
They have like the technology.
the chips.
Yeah,
Thank you, the
chips,
technology and the chips.
Yeah.
So they'll be contenders. Russia, they're just crazy over there. Putin is like a crazy person. So, but yeah, I think those would be the three people at the table to
be like world powers. You're saying? To
Yes,
be
correct.
as
That would be
top.
contending for world powers. I'm not saying necessarily that America would not win. I'm
Uh-huh.
saying those would be the three countries
Uh-huh. If the
fighting for it all.
if we go to World War III and you're drafted, are you going to fight for your nation? As a proud, independent, strong woman of America that has been indoctrinated with feminism, were you going to fight for your nation?
No.
Why not?
I don't know if you want me to answer this.
I do. Go.
As a descendant of the Tuskegee experiments,
All right. Yep. Here we go. All right.
and as a marginalized person in this country,
Marginalized.
no, I don't pledge allegiance to America. I don't.
What do you pledge allegiance to?
I just think that there should be basic human rights and civility for all people. I think healthcare should be universal. I think women should have the ability to choose what they want to do with their bodies. I think that social services should be accessible. I guess I'm a Democrat. But also, by the way, in terms of what I'm saying and who should pay for it, it's nobody on this call.
What do you mean? It would be everybody on this call.
Is Jeff Bezos on this call?
Do you realize that you cannot have your idea is I'll get a billionaire to pay for everything that I want because he has money. I'm just going to come take his money because he has it.
You cannot be a billionaire and a good person at the same time. Do you know that in the next
Life is not about being a good person. Go ahead. It's not.
in the next decade, we're going to see our first trillionaire. Who could ever possibly in 100 lifetimes spend $1 trillion, even if you bequeath it to your offspring? Like, it's too much money. So,
It's too much money. What is that person doing to earn the $1 trillion? Do you know?
yes, I do.
What?
I do know what they're doing. They are raping the common people.
Why do you have to use that word? Okay, go ahead. How are they graping the common people?
Sorry. Off the backs of the common person. I mean, I work in I'm not going to go into too much detail, but like I'm an employee at I'm a salaried employee at a capitalist company, and I'm seeing what's happening to my peers around me while the executives are getting $15-20 million bonuses. And, you know, my employees, my peers, shall I say, are being laid off and unemployed collecting from the government, which, by the way, you all pay for, as do I. Thank you. It's not.
So you believe, because you see people who make more than you, or people who are executives who make executive money, you believe that the people that are in the lower levels should make that money too? And
No, I don't. I don't think that they should necessarily make that money. But explain to me, if I'm me and we have this executive, I'm doing the work. I'm boots on the ground. I'm every day like grinding for X amount of money an hour. And that CEO is making 100 times what I'm making an hour for what exactly?
So don't you think that people who reach that levels of being CEOs and so on, that they had to be boots on the ground at one point too, and that's why you work your way up?
No, I don't. I believe that they
did something a little strange for a little bit of change.
No, that's not what I was going to say. No, I believe that a high propensity of them likely were born into wealth or had various privileges not afforded to regular people that allowed them to be in a position to propel themselves into that situation, because they didn't have to think about things like, oh my God, I have student loans. Oh my God, I have to like pay bills. I can't.
Well, that's a convenient way of thinking. That is a very convenient way to look at things, that anybody who's doing well, or who's a CEO, or who has anything, that they most likely didn't get it because they actually worked their way up, but they were just given it because they were white. Is that what the thing?
Not necessarily.
Okay, but they were just given it.
It's not about race. It's about what is your economic background? Like for me, I paid for all of my college education alone. I worked and I took out loans, and I paid for myself to be able to go to college and put myself in a position that I could earn a higher salary. But like, what if I were born into a situation where mommy and daddy were paying all of my tuition, paying for all of my bills, and it wasn't something I had to worry about, like the day-to-day of living. You have to be alive, right? You have
I hear you. I hear you. Hear me out, Rachel. So when you speak about that, this is what I see. I see a person who looks at the world and says that I know your life because I see where you're at currently. If you're above me currently and you're making good money and I'm not, that you probably were given things that I wasn't given, that you probably had opportunities afforded to you that I didn't. And instead of seeing people who work their way up and make it, you only see the result of their hard work. The other thing is the college, when you're talking about college debt, the only time that a person should go into debt for college is if you are getting a degree in law, medicine, or something that is science, engineering. If you're not getting a degree in that, then yes, you're going to have student debt that you're not going to be able to pay back, because the degree that you got, unfortunately, is not worth what you're paying right now. Because if you did get if you went into a proper profession, then you wouldn't have to worry about paying it back, because the profession would pay it back for you easily.
Okay, but what if you weren't afforded the ability of having the upbringing in which you had parents that ingrained in you this very specific skill set? Like, what if you had parents that worked minimum wage, multiple jobs, and they couldn't be with you? You were a latchkey kid and you didn't have anybody to help you with your homework, so you had to just do your best. Like, do you think that people are engineers and doctors and lawyers because they grew from the ground and they just had no sustenance and no cultivation and just figured out how to do these occupations? Like, that in and of itself is a privilege. Those people likely had tutors and the best type of education, the best school districts. Good school districts come from tax dollars. Tax dollars come from...
I'm going to butt you. Did you know that a lot of the most successful people that we see, the billionaires that we've seen, a lot of them didn't even graduate high school? Did you know a lot of them were high school or college dropouts? Just because you went to school, wait, I didn't interrupt you.
Okay, that's fair.
Just because someone goes to school and has the best tutors does not make you smart. Just like they say, you cannot buy intelligence. If you're dumb, you're just going to be dumb. But if you're smart, you will succeed no matter what, because you know how to use what you know for your advantage. And that's what Bill Gates did. That's what Steve Jobs did. And you're not listening because you're too busy thinking about what you're going to say.
The response is nepotism. The end.
Nepotism?
That's all I have to say.
So your idea is that if a person is successful, it's because that people they had a good upbringing and that's what makes them successful, right?
No. I say that the institutions were built for a specific demographic of people. And if you are somebody that doesn't fall into that demographic and you just so happen to overcome multiple hurdles that other people don't have because of privilege, because the institutions were designed for them, that statistically it's more likely. This is why some women shouldn't vote. Jesus Christ, are we in 1920? The fuck? Women's suffrage?
I love you. I
Bro,
love you.
broski.
So bad. Thank you. And this is the reason why I say women shouldn't vote, because it's this right here.
Let's see right here.
This is the reason.
This is a left swipe. Who cares? Get yourself involved in worthless degrees. I didn't get a worthless degree. By the way, just so you know, I'm also not like, I'm not going to talk about my income, but I make very, very, very much.
She is a millionaire. I'm not saying that she's not a millionaire. I'm just saying when you're speaking about these groups, you're acting like these people are victims. They're not victims. They made their decisions. And unfortunately, yes, they got taken advantage of when they were 18 and signed their name on a loan that they couldn't afford for a stupid degree in basket weaving, underwater basket weaving. What?
Someone said ban birth control and I'm terrified. I'm so scared. Yes, thank you. How do I do this one?
Just
do
click
I do
it. Click
this
it.
one?
Mhm.
Okay.
Click it. Says what she means is that white skin plus equals. And
Oh my
that's what you're
God.
agreeing on?
Wow, you like said that so much more succinctly than I did.
Is that what you're agreeing
Yes,
on?
yes. Your life is on easy mode with these factors taken into consideration. It's not to say that it can't be done if you aren't both of those.
Have you ever had white
It's
skin and
just
a
harder.
penis? Have you ever had it? How would you know?
No, because I know people. I won't say his name on this live, but we know certain
Are
people.
you talking about my husband? That's different. That's different. That
How do I highlight this comment for like the rest of the live?
We are
Like,
not
that's
doing
the
that.
point of
We are-
everything.
first of all, we're not doing that.
She probably loves eating babies. Like, yeah, man, if I can't afford that shit, I'm not having that.
You
Are
have
you
not
fucking
done that.
crazy?
Stop. Don't make
No,
it
I
sound
haven't.
like
No, I
you're
have not. I have
Don't
not.
say that because they're gonna take it to heart. They're gonna think that you're
Jesus.
one of
Okay. Well, I support it. If you can't afford it, if you can't afford to feed it, don't breed it. Thank you. Goodbye.
How about not opening your legs in the first place? Oh, that's impossible. Oh my God, no, we can't
It's
do
not
that.
that it's not. It's not that it's impossible. Abstinence. Okay. Yeah. How did that work out in the 1950s?
So we have to let
Oh,
Pookie and
just
Ray Ray
don't have
like,
sex.
their
Who's
ways
Pookie
and
and Ray Ray? Why can't it be Jonathan and Greg?
because Jonathan and Greg's babies are being born. Pookie's and Ray Ray's
Oh,
aren't.
to further the master race. Okay.
Well, I agree on that. That's for sure.
I don't believe in abstinence and chastity. I believe that people are designed to have a sexual inclination.
I just wanted to have a normal stream tonight, and then I had undead
But
chronic
you,
come, and then now this. I'm sorry, Pride.
Christians, supposed to wait until marriage? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Jonathan and Greg.
What?
I'm sorry, these people are hilarious.
Well,
as
Dio
fuck.
is here. He wants to talk.
Just
to
so you know, I have not been reading the comments up until this point. So
Hi,
whatever
Dio.
bullshit you've been saying to me, I didn't read it. I don't care.
Thanks for having me on. I'd like to address that one particular comment you said so succinctly summed up your points. My family were coal miners, white men who would watch their fathers go into the mines, and if they were not buried alive or crushed to death, they would come up day after day of hard labor and slowly choke to death on their own blood.
Okay.
And they would watch their fathers do this. And then, as their fathers died, they would pick up their father's pick and they would go down into the mine. And they would survive just about long enough to see their sons share their fate and inevitably know that their sons would choke to death on their own blood too. So please, I would like to hear about the privilege of my forefathers.
truly and genuinely, I'm very sorry to hear that that was the experience
Well,
of
you just insulted
your.
all of them, so how sorry
Okay,
are you?
yeah, but I
Theo,
listen
let
to
him
you,
respond.
so are you gonna let me respond, or I cannot respond?
He's letting you respond.
Okay.
Go on.
I'm very sorry to hear that. That is that your forefathers experienced that. I would welcome you into my group of minorities. That is a not the most common. You're an outlier in that situation. That is not. You are an exception to the rule, and I'm very sorry in this scenario that is what it is. But what he just described of the people who came before him and what they went through, it's giving minority. Like, yeah, no, that is not
not a minority.
that is
is
not
the
the white
majority experience.
existence.
You look at the factories, who works in the factories, who works on the construction sites. You look at the people who are doing this. You ever worked on a construction site? Third most dangerous civilian job. And that's just by raw deaths. That's not counting all the people who go home and get mesothelioma because they breathe in all this asbestos or whatever they have now. They got the spray on insulation. So you have a nice home. You're a millionaire. You're living your good, privileged, cushy life because white men with penises are dying in droves in miserable jobs so that you can have it. And then you have the gall to call us a minority. You are not with us. You shamed my people, my forefathers.
Your forefathers enslaved my forefathers.
Well,
I have a
your
last name that I
forefathers
will not
enslaved the
share
people
with
and
you.
enslaved
You
them.
can fucking go on.
Stop,
How do I
stop,
meet you?
stop.
I have forefathers that have a last name that is derived from West African slavery. So again, like I almost feel like you're closer to me probably than you are Jeff Bezos and these white fucking capitalists. Feel how you want about that. Like I absolutely empathize with what you just described, and it's unacceptable. And I'm so sorry that your lineage had to deal with that, right? But
Let's get Larry to speak. Larry, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a question for Rachel. Welcome again, by the way. So you're saying that Dio's forefathers enslaved ours. Who'd they get them from?
don't do this. Don't do that.
I'm
For
asking an honest
real.
question.
So they took their ships and they sailed them over to West Africa. And what I'm assuming, and please correct me if my presumption is incorrect, is that the people in West Africa said, "Oh, here, take these ones." Is that what you're insinuating?
Well, that's actually fact. I mean, there were tribal wars, and the losers were captured, put in cages, and left on the shores for, as you said, Dio's white forefathers to come and pick up. But my question is, what about the white British male soldiers with or sailors with penises that died trying to rescue those people and return them to their lands?
Thank you so much. We appreciate your service. What about the Black people that died in the Civil War protecting a country that considered them to be inferior? Yeah, so I think we're even there.
Wait, I want to bring up something since we're all talking about our forefathers. Did you know that the Arab slave trade still goes on? And we were the ones, hi, Arab, that we were the ones who kind of started the whole African slave trade. We were the ones who sold Africans to the British, to the whites. Did you know that?
Yeah,
So when you
I
said
would
you went to
also like to.
Palestine and
I,
when she
I
said
kind
she's
of
going to
wanted to answer a
Palestine,
question.
you
You
will.
cut
Just
me
let me
off before I
finish.
can answer
Wait
your question.
1 second. I'm going to give you your time. But she said
One,
that she's going to go to Palestine and then she's going
that's
to go to
more than a
Palestine and
second.
they're going to see, please hold, Larry, 1 second. It says she's going to go to Palestine and she's going to be accepted by them because they're going to see her as a minority and they're going to welcome her. I don't know about that. Go ahead, Larry. Here you go.
So you mute me and not chronic, huh? Okay, I'll keep that in my mental
Answer
Rolodex.
her question,
Anyway,
Larry.
to answer your question,
Maybe she's racist.
the the black soldiers that participated as members of the Union Army were happy to do so because they were actually fighting for their freedom, which they did obtain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure that they were happy considering what was going on. Doesn't seem to me that the entire country hated them, just a section of people. And that's life. No matter where you go, someone's not going to like you. As far as slavery itself, yeah, several nations and peoples have been enslaved. Russians have serfs. The if I'm not mistaken, the Irish were enslaved for a time.
50%.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's
I
as
think
far as
that
I'm
you
concerned,
are
slavery is a worldwide disease.
gross generalization, but okay, sure. Like, God bless. God bless. How did this girl? Do you know how long it took her to convince me to show up on this channel?
Oh, you're fine. I don't hate you at all.
No. I don't. I don't
I'm
necessarily.
actually glad you're here.
Some of these
So,
comments are
But he's right. No,
crazy.
don't get distracted. He
Oh,
said
sorry.
something. He brought up a good point. He said, Irish, many people have been enslaved. In fact, the word slave comes from Slav, and they were not Africans. They were Slavics. Do you know what a Slav is, right?
Mhm.
So the word slave comes from Slavs who were white. So what are you talking about when you bring up this point of, oh, we were slaves?
Marginalized people. That's the bottom line. Like, you have to take an honest appraisal. Like, what is a marginalized person? Okay, we're in 2024. And again, I'm going to keep it respectfully because I'm not going to like feign ignorance. I'm going to admit, like, I have a little bit, I'm in a little bit more of a vacuum, right? I live in America. I'm American. Like, I'm not going to, no, I don't know the history of the Irish and I'm not going to pretend like I do. Okay. So speaking from the background that resonates with me, I'm looking at marginalization and it continues to be people of color. But hey, guess what? Lucky for you, not for long, because by 2050 in America, white people will be the minority because everybody is screwing each other interracially.
Oh,
So
God.
everybody's going to look like me.
Oh God, no. Dio.
well, I'm in an interracial marriage. My kids don't look like you.
Are they more fair skinned? Because by
Yeah,
the
they
way,
are.
there's also colorism in the black community that I don't even know if I want to bring that shit up because
There's
god
Well,
damn it,
colorism
that's
I
in
mean, I don't. They
fucking
could
rabbit
be.
hole. But
They could be as dark as the night sky is, but I still love them the same. It doesn't matter to me. But I'm just saying, just
okay,
addressing
but
your
you do
comment, they
realize
don't look
that
like
your
you.
children, if they're more fair skinned than a black person, have a certain amount of privilege in that regard. Because I do. I recognize my privilege, by the way, as somebody who is of a mixed descent. I have a different experience than
As a
somebody
military veteran,
than
I
my
have
black,
privileges.
excuse me, hold on, than my black female, or actually, oof, even worse, male counterpart. Multiracial black women, like, we're like,
Oh my God.
closest, if you want to say, to the experience of a white person. Like,
Oh.
there's layers. So yes, my skin being closer to palm colored does benefit me. The way that I enunciate and speak, and I'm articulate and I'm educated, benefits me. Like, I have a certain layer of privilege that my peers with darker skin, different genders and what have you, don't know. So I also, that kind of even creates my own bias, and there's many things that I can't speak to.
Here's a question for you. He says, ask Rachel to define misogynist or woman without using the word woman.
Oh fuck, we're like having a vocabulary contest right now. Sorry. Okay.
So define woman without using the word woman, or define misogynist without using woman. You're so educated. You're very educated. I have faith in you.
I know nothing. I dropped out of high school and I have no idea what's happening right here.
Okay, be serious. You're getting annoying. Do it.
Okay, I won't be annoying. I might be annoying. I'm a misogynist. Okay. Oh fuck. This is like kind of hard. It's without using the word woman. Like, I could do it using the word
my
woman.
God, can you hurry up? Like, they're waiting.
Lord. Okay. I actually don't know without using the word woman, because
Can you
misogyny.
define what a woman is without using internet. Wait. The internet cut out for a second. So
I don't want to get dragged.
you know where did you guys hear what she was gonna say? I know it cut out for a second. I know it cut
did
out,
she
but
say?
did you guys hear what she said? You guys probably didn't hear, and it's
All right,
probably
I'll
the
just
best.
do it.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to do it or not?
Define woman without using woman. Go.
Dude, somebody who identifies as a woman, man. Like,
Somebody say it louder. Say it louder.
someone who identifies as a woman. I don't care. Like, why do you care? If somebody, okay, let's say I show up and I'm like, yeah, I'm a woman, and you look at me, maybe I physically don't present as that, or like, but why do you care? Like, make it make sense of why do you give a shit?
Because the reason why people are asking, if I may answer, is because you have biological men who are going around saying they're women. In fact, one by the name of Leah Thomas is now suing the World Aquatics Association because I'll just say they want to sneak into the Olympics and go up against women in swimming.
Okay. Well, that's a limitation. Come on, let's be so fucking for real. Like, no, men. Sorry. People who are born biologically male should not compete in women's sports. Like, I feel like there's limitations, right? Like, come on, you can't just take everything and make it so blanketed.
Wait a minute,
All
but
right,
his point-
there's always nuances to everything.
His point, which you missed clearly, his point was that if we stop defining what a woman is and we say it's anybody who wants to be or feels like, then that is creating an environment where people like Leah Thomas can thrive.
People born biologically male don't belong in women's sports. But if somebody who wants to cross dress, and by the way, respectfully, I do consider it to be a form of mental illness. I do. I think that it's a form of mental illness, but I'm not policing and enforcing what other people want to do. Like, good luck to you. God bless. Like, it's not hurting anyone.
Right,
So unless it's like crossing certain boundaries, like, again, women's sports, okay, that's a boundary.
But they want to respond.
Go ahead.
I just have one question. All right, so we can't allow men into women's sports. What do you think about Haley Van Voorhees, who is now the first girl to play in Division III football? She's a woman taking up a slot in male sports. You going to want her out too?
Yeah. Yes, I would. Yes, I do. I don't think that that makes sense either.
So all women out of male sports, female journalists out of male locker rooms. We don't allow women in male spaces at all. What about male clubs? Can men have clubs back again?
You are bastardizing what I'm saying.
No, I'm asking a question. I'm making a question where you can explain yourself.
Is a journalist on the field competing with other people in a physical way, or are they performing?
There were female reporters who went into locker rooms where men were naked with cameras. Men going into women's locker rooms with cameras would be unacceptable, but with women, it has been hailed for multiple decades as a stunning achievement of feminism.
This is so ludicrous to me. Like, are we really getting into this level of granularity?
Yes, we are.
This is ridiculous. Like, no, it's not that I don't get it. Like, come on, be so for real. Have some common sense. Like,
well, you say men are a privileged class, yet here's an instance in which women clearly have the privilege over men. So, I mean, these instances exist in massive scales.
Let's get post in.
I think that you are taking what I'm saying and out of context and drilling into the granularities when common sense and societal constructs should answer that question, and I shouldn't need to. Like,
have they answered that question?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Take off all your clothes. Sorry.
Stop whispering. If you're gonna
Okay.
I'm not gonna speak. Oh my god.
So
those are lyrics
Title
to another
9.
song.
Go ahead.
Title 9. All right. So Title 9. I don't know the details, but we all agree that we're not supposed to differentiate between races, ages, colors, and all that stuff. So if two people show up, for the same job, one's a man, one's a woman, do we differentiate between skin colors? Is that what we do? Because I thought we were above that. Martin Luther King says we don't do that anymore.
I feel like
Right.
these questions are like from trolls. Like, what does that even mean?
No.
What
Okay, so
are you talking about, please?
I don't. You come in talking about skin color, but Martin Luther King says we do not differentiate between skin colors. Right.
Oh, because you were saying that because you have pale skin. And
Well, but you brought up gender. So, okay, I'm sorry. So I'm not conflating the two. Are we
Yeah, go
talking
ahead.
about gender, or are we talking about race?
Either one.
Okay, two men, a black man and a white man, show up to a job. There should not be discrimination as to who can perform the job better. It should be based on their credentials. Same thing with a woman. If a black man and a white woman, or a white man and a black woman show up, it depends on the job. Is that answering your question? Like, I guess I'm confused with the question.
He's expecting you to say
something stupid.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Because what we have right now is like affirmative action, right? Affirmative action, and we have that in work too. In the workplace, there's a quota of how many black people that you need to let into your establishment to not be seen as racist.
Oh, man.
And you see a lot of people do get jobs because they are black, and they want to seem like, oh, we're not racist, so we're going to hire the black person over the white person who's qualified.
Because I was in the military, and Title IX was a big thing when we were in. And so we don't see skin color, we don't see race, we don't see all that. But the only people I hear talking about that, we don't. No, as an organization, as people who are in the military, we don't do that. So when people from the outside,
okay, sorry, go ahead. You
go
finish.
ahead.
I'm
No.
sorry.
Well, yeah, but so we the only time I hear this stuff is from people who are outside of people who are under Title IX, or people just. Go ahead, but you were going to say something though.
Two people walk into a room. One of them is white and one of them is black, and you don't see color. The very first thing that you notice about somebody, okay, sorry, I can't. I'm not gonna swear. The very first thing that you notice about any person that walks into your perimeter is their gender and their race. That's literally the first thing. Oh, that's a black woman. Oh, that's a white man. Like,
but we don't stop there.
I'm okay. Next question, because like that's ridiculous.
94%.
Okay, I'll hang out and wait.
All right, so of the 300,000 S&P 100 jobs added, 94% went to people of color. In
please send me that article. Please send me the article so
it's in the chat already. It's in the link if Amira would like to pull that up.
She's going to pull it up. Thank you.
Right now, I can't open it with the thing going. I can. Hold on a second. There it is. Here we go. Hold on. Give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here we go. 1 second. For a brief moment in 2020, much of corporate America united around a common goal to address the stark racial imbalances in their workplaces. Mass protests sparked by the murder of the meth head, the crackhead, to a flurry of company promises, both specific and vague, to hire and promote more Black people and others from underrepresented groups.
That's not Title IX.
Exactly, it's not Title IX.
It's a lot of graphics.
It's a lot of graphics, Dio. But anyway, so get to your point, because you were saying that 94% of the jobs were going to them. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that last part? You kind of cut out a little.
You said that you were getting to a point where you said a certain percentage of jobs went to Black people. Go on.
Yes. All right. So 94% of the jobs are going to people of color. Does that to you seem like a proof, let's say, of white privilege?
It seems like a gross overgeneralization, and candidly, I would prefer to have that like as a homework assignment and almost like a topic for the next time that we meet here, because I'm not going to read a headline.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can go back and
go
research
ahead and make an assumption, because I feel quite confidently that that's a headline and I need additional context to form an educated opinion. But thank you for the article. No, I did not major in women's studies. Like, what you're calling me narrow-minded. Like, get a real job. Next.
Stop. Don't be mean.
Don't
How
be
many
mean.
genders are there?
How many? These people are
How
mean.
many genders are there?
Here, okay, it goes
Two.
back to I don't care.
No, just say.
No, listen, I don't care. I mean, I feel like there's two genders.
There's two.
You feel like
Okay, there's two genders. You have a this or you have a that when you come out. Or there's some people that are hermaphrodites, right? Like that's a real thing, right?
Is that
But
a
okay,
gender,
let's.
though? Is a hermaphrodite a gender?
So there's gender and there's biology.
How many genders are there?
I don't know that I can speak on that. I'm not here. There biologically, there's two different types of equipment that you can come out of the womb with, right? But who am
But
I to
mentally,
say?
you can be another gender, right? Mentally, you can be something else.
I don't care.
There's three. There's
I
the
don't
men, there's the women,
care.
and then the people who use the every family bathroom, right?
But I don't care. Like unless it's like until it affects me, I don't care. Like, listen, hey, whoever is on the phone right now, if you wake up tomorrow morning, you're like, hey, I identify as a toaster. Good for you, man. Live your best life. Like, go get a job, go do your thing, get it like cool. I hope that works out well for you. I don't care. Like, why am I here policing and enforcing other people's bodies?
Because they police and enforce us. So
Do they?
They do.
Yeah,
Okay.
in multiple countries, you can be put in prison for using the wrong pronoun with somebody. So this is actually a reasonable issue to be concerned about.
Bro,
Like the UK.
Like
be
the
so.
UK.
Please
And
send me a list of all the people that have been imprisoned for misusing someone's pronouns. Like, God
That's a real
bless them.
thing.
It's just okay. And listen, if it is a real thing, it is like. Here we are again with the exception. Like, it's like, okay, 5 people last year experienced that. There's 350 million people in this country. Like,
So you're saying that if it's an isolated incident, it's okay. So if we said black people can only drink from a separate fountain, as long as it was only 5 black people that actually had to follow it, that would be an okay rule to have on the books. Is that what you're trying to imply?
That makes sense too.
it's not that it would be an okay thing, but again, if it isn't like if it's in one city in Iowa that has a population of 5 black people, it would be less pervasive than it being a part of like the fabric of America, man. Not the inner city, the fabric of America. Like, come on.
And by the way, rest in peace, Dr. Martin Luther King. You know, this talk about fabric of America.
Sardonic.
He said that people should not be judged by the color of their skin, by the content of their character. That's all I hear about anymore is this, racial that, my lived experience and all this stuff. That's all we hear about anymore. Like, normal people don't see it that way.
Okay, are we really going to pretend like scale isn't a factor here? I'm mean to one person over there versus like I'm subjugating an entire minority of people like across an entire country.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean, because so, like when we're talking on the internet, we talk about all people. Like we're talking in generalities here for the most part. What do you mean exactly?
She's saying that she's talking about the scale of what we're saying. She's saying if it's in a small scale, is that the same as it being in the scale of America as a whole? She's saying that what you're saying, it doesn't really matter because these are small areas with small amounts of black people.
No, like
this thing applies. This thing applies to an entire nation. These are the laws of the land that affect everyone within that nation. So even if you're
Western
not
civilization
directly subject to that law in any particular instance, it is always over your head like the sword of Damocles. So you are always facing the threat of that law, even if you are not subject to enforcement of that law in a particular instance.
Right, but we're here and we're steady focusing on the marginalized people versus the institutions that were created for the majority. So we're back to focusing on the marginalized and subjugated people versus how are these institutions like being structured in such a way that it affects others.
What
Like, does
have-
that make sense?
Have you considered that
Everything.
in fact?
Go ahead.
Have you considered that in fact, though, that your focus on these marginalized people is in fact what is creating these marginalizing situations now, such as we have with Asian Americans who have to score higher on the SATs just to get into the same school that you had the privilege of getting into easier because you were black and female?
You're a trip. You think I got into my college because I'm a black female?
I don't think he's saying
You
that.
got in easier because you were a black female. You were not required to have the same set standard as someone of a different race. Yes, that is a known fact that has been reported on the news and covered by multiple organizations.
When I entered college, I literally prefer not to say from my race.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
She has to go in a gratifying cry.
No, if you're gonna talk, you gotta be here. You cannot talk far away.
So you're calling on like my merit and academic credentials?
I'm saying this is a situation you have created trying to protect the black race, where you have now coddled the black race into a place of privilege above every other race and are now punishing an actual minority, Asian people, who are not white. They're Asian, so they shouldn't be subject to your racial hatred of my people. And you're making them suffer. And because of that, we are not getting the best qualified candidates because we are removing that entire middle section. You have to score much higher to get in as an Asian, period. That's just the truth. You can get in with a much lower SAT score if you are black, period. And that is bad for blacks as well, because as you were so upset by, it makes it look bad on you, because now I don't know if I'm hiring you if you got in because you were actually good at what you did or because you were just a diversity hire. So your social justice is making more problems than it's fixing.
It's causing more racism than we already had.
I had a 3.8 GPA. Anyway, so I think that there's some nuances to this as well, right? Because
what? She can't even think of
no, I can't think of it. Don't do that. Because there are just fundamental differences in the opportunities that somebody has growing up. Again, it goes back to taxpayers' dollars. It goes back to the school district that you grew up in, which at least here where we are is a derivative of the zip code that you live in. So what if you're poor? Like, what if you're poor? What if you're poor?
Right, so we have inequalities. I understand that.
So we have inequality. So okay, please don't interrupt me. So you say I didn't mean to exclude him. I'm sorry. Did I do that? Okay. I'm sorry. I won't touch it. I'm not mad.
Sorry if I interrupted.
No, you're fine. And I didn't mean to X you out. So no, it comes back to people talk about affirmative action. It's trying to create a semblance of equality, because that isn't what is taking place at the fundamental level of education. Again, it goes back to property taxes. So what if you're poor so that you don't have the same resources as somebody who is living where Jeff Bezos and his offspring are living, and you're living in some type of housing project? I don't really
So we agree on that, but it's not a color thing. That's a class thing. It's a numbers thing.
Not a color thing. So it isn't like a statistic, and that minorities typically live in more underprivileged zip codes. That's not part of this. Okay.
Well, what difference does it make to a model minority Asian? I mean, he comes from the most educated race. He comes from the highest earning race. And if he comes from a single mother household, which he's the least likely to be as an Asian, then what good has it done him to be Asian, to be penalized for this? And again, are we supposed to just let the pendulum swing back and forth? We had 300,000 jobs, 94% went to people of color. Now, are we supposed to say, privilege is going in the opposite direction? Do white people start pushing for reparations? Do white people start instituting programs that in turn swing too far to the other way? The entire issue with slavery in America that you kept coming back to was actually started by these same policies. The reason why slavery was allowed in America was a black Arab I believe it was a black Arab and a black man who was brought over as an indentured servant. He wanted his freedom, and the slave owner said, "No, I don't want to give it to him." And white
One
people
second.
said, "You know what? They enslave our people. We don't care. This isn't our problem." So we legalized it.
1 second, Dio. When we were talking about neighborhoods and the neighborhood that you grow up affecting whether you're going to be successful or not, when you look at the bad neighborhoods, if you go to bad neighborhoods, there are many Asians that live in those bad neighborhoods as well. Why is it that Asian children going to the same schools with the same teachers, with the same area, same zip code and everything, why is it that they typically succeed out of their schools? They do better in their schools than the black kids do. Is it because they have two parents? Is it because they are an education-based society? Is it because they take education more serious than others? Why do you think that they succeed over black students in the same zip codes?
Real quick before she answered that, I was asked to answer a question that Rachel asked earlier. She asked to name one person that's been arrested for not using the right pronouns. A man in Canada named Robert Hoogland was arrested for not using his 15-year-old daughter's preferred pronouns. That was
Canada's screwed.
Okay, thank you for an isolated incident that does not really.
Well,
the UK, Ireland, many countries.
Hold on, stop. The laws that threw him in jail were one of those laws were also signed in California back in 2017 and a few other states in America. They just have not been enacted yet. No, they haven't been used yet, but some states do have them on the books. So they're already laying the groundwork to start doing those very things here. And it's been going on.
Thank you so much for your contribution to this conversation. That is
anytime,
duly
Rachel.
noted.
I enjoy having a successful dialogue with you.
Oh, me as well. So yeah, I would venture to say that it's more to the point of the Asian American students. It's culture, right? And how does somebody form culture over multiple generations? So if that's something that has been propagated over multiple generations of Asian heritage that has not had the opportunity to fully be instilled in Black communities and Black families because of the setback that, maybe we don't need to talk about.
No, wait. No, you are not going to get away with that, because back before the 60s, Black people were more successful and more in many ways. The family was more together than white people and everything. Black culture had it. And you're going to, no, if it is culture, then that means, if it's culture, then that means Black culture is responsible for the majority of the failures that you see, not white people and racism.
White people are responsible.
No, they're not.
Okay, have you guys ever heard?
So is us.
Have you ever heard of sharecroppers? You ever heard of that?
Quick question.
You ever heard of that one time where the white people were like, "Oh my God, you're free! Like, congratulations, good for you, you're free." Hey, guess what? You have no resources. You have nothing established for yourself. You're essentially just let out of the back door with nothing. Oh, hey, guess what? We'll give you all of this stuff on a consignment, right? All of this stuff on consignment. Hey, you can have these fields, you can have all this stuff. You're going to still work for me. We're going to pay you negligibly, but you're quote unquote free. Oh, and by the way, we're going to enslave you. Oh, hey, you stole a pig because your family was hungry and you couldn't feed them. Yeah, you're going to go to prison for 5 years. You know what prison is? Oh, free labor. So, white people post-racism continue to perpetuate a paid version of racism. So, racism, or excuse me, slavery, a paid version of slavery 2.0. And that continued all the way into Jim Crow, all the way into MLK, post-MLK. The people who are in this chat or part of this conversation who are disagreeing with something that to me is so fundamental as to say that Black people experienced a setback, a multiple generational setback. Let's not even talk about, I will finish and then he can speak. Let's not even talk about Oklahoma. Y'all want to talk about Oklahoma? Y'all want to talk about Black Wall Street? Who came and burned that shit down? Okay. So y'all respond. Go ahead.
All right. If I may, Under
Well,
Jim Crow law, the
Wait,
black
hold on,
community.
Let him go.
Dio.
no, Theo was
Thank you.
trying to let Larry go because Larry's been trying to get in for a sec. She has to go pee, so I
But
want to
I'll
get the
listen.
response. Yeah.
I'll listen,
Yeah,
and then I'll
okay.
use the restroom and
So,
come back.
yes, our people, despite all those things, thrived and survived regardless. And as a family, we still grew strong as a family unit. What started hurting us was all of the policies that you're seeing right now, the government stepping in and telling black mothers, hey, you don't need a black man in the house. You could take this stuff from the government, take this free stuff. You don't need this guy. This is
I
what
agree.
destroyed us. So it's
Part
not
of it.
just like that it was all white people, because the system that you mentioned, as far as not being paid well and doing all these other things, they're under the same system. And I've known more white people that were homeless, and I used to help the homeless. I used to work to get them housing. And for every one black homeless person I met, I probably met around 20 homeless black people. They're under the same system. So for those of us on the ground level, we might make it about race, but those who are in control, it's not about that. It's about status. It's about about them wanting control over people regardless of what they look like. So I understand where you're going at, but that's the trap that Democrats like to lure over us to keep black people voting Democrat. And they say, hey, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that for you guys every time an election cycle comes around, but nothing changes.
Okay,
It's been
so
going
I'm
for
going to
decades.
respond to you. I'm going to respond to you concisely, and then I'm going to use the restroom. I 100% agree with you that yes, the American government continued to perpetuate that mindset by essentially saying that yes, like you don't need a black man in the household, you don't qualify for welfare, you don't qualify for various social services. If it's a 2-parent household, and that, in my opinion, is its own kind of like conspiracy theory that we can delve deeper into, I'm sure. Okay, who's the government? Ran by white men. It's ran by white men. So it actually really just further actually substantiates my point. There was a pinned comment of something that somebody said. Okay. Sorry. Prisoners as labor is no longer a thing. Did you know that the people in prison are
he meant to say free labor. He meant to say it's free labor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. 25 cents an hour. And I mean, I guess they're being subsidized by having, food and everything provided to them. Right. But why are they
dessert? Prisoners
Ooh, and dessert. Can I have dessert? Do you have some ice cream around here? Sorry, but I'm gonna go pee. I will. But I don't know. I feel like that really minimizes a lot of things and is a very much, again, overgeneralization that doesn't take a numerous amount of factors into consideration. So I don't really like that statement. Sorry.
Okay, go pee. We're gonna wait for you. We're gonna talk.
No. They should.
We're gonna talk about ice cream.
They're all gonna talk shit about me, and I'll be back.
Oh, they'll do it to your face. Don't trust me. They'll do it to your face. So, yeah, that's Rachel. She's coming back. Hi, Dr. M.
I would like to get my question in for her when she gets back.
Okay, she'll be right back.
Well,
She'll be right back.
that'll
What do you guys
be
think?
Dio's next, though, right?
Yeah, he's next. Dio is next because we had to stop Dio. What do you guys think about this conversation? Do you think do you guys learn anything from her, or do you guys just get more irritated at the blanketed ignorance of many things?
She's going to give me an aneurysm, but it is nice to have all my views on why I shouldn't pay for any of this confirmed.
You
I'm fine with the conversation. I'm not triggered. So
I like the conversation. I like the back and forth, and it makes me definitely more firm in my beliefs every time I have to do this too. So
I'm not triggered, but I'm definitely amused.
I get irritated a little bit because I'm like, I want, we have to realize that Rachel, she speaks for that side of the train tracks. You know what I mean? She speaks for that side. That's what they believe, and that's how they feel. That is a real feeling. It's not something that they're just saying just because they want to be triggering. That's what they really think. They really feel that way, and they believe that they're doing the right thing by thinking this way. So
Well, as I said before, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And we are creating situations now that are going to have repercussions that our children and grandchildren, if they're alive, will have to pay for.
Those
Yeah,
already exist.
it's already, yeah, exactly, Larry. It's already happening, to be honest. Another thing about this, guys, is that when it comes to these discussions, it's as if we are speaking to the college, the education system. This is what the education system teaches the majority of us. Even when I was in school, me and her went to school together, but I turned out this way and she turned out that way. So, same school, same everything, but different results.
It's a little scary what's going on in the colleges. I actually a
That's
few
cool, yeah.
weeks ago just started a new postdoctoral research position, and I get communications just through the department and the college relating to various levels of education. But so many of the emails just in a 3-week course have been, diverse this, diverse that, women, minorities, and while I do think that there is strength in having a diverse community, well, first of all, I believe it should happen organically.
Right, not forced. Yeah.
Right. Like if you look at us, we're a pretty diverse community, but we came together based on beliefs and our experiences in life rather than trying to check off some boxes for some quota. But I've just
Right.
seen so many emails in that vein, or programs kind of virtue signaling, and it's just become such a focus. I feel like shouldn't more of these emails be about the science we're doing, what we're hoping to achieve, and not the color of the skin or what's between the legs of who is achieving this?
Right. Right. And it's funny because we speak as if it shouldn't matter, but the people who say it shouldn't matter are the ones who are making the big deals out of the color of your skin and what's in between your legs. So, I mean, trust me, we know, we've seen it. Go ahead, Dr.
Yeah.
Moore.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in New York, still live there, so one of the most lefty places you can live. And one of the reasons I really feel pushed away from the left is because I grew up with classical liberal ideologies, the value of free speech, and the idea that your skin color or your gender shouldn't matter. And I've just noticed that the left leaning institutions have suddenly latched onto this idea, and it's very off-putting. It feels like it goes against the very values I was raised with here in liberal New York.
But before this, Dio wanted to speak to you first because Dio had something to say and we stopped him.
I'm just going to respond really quickly to what you said, which is that diverse communities that were brought together by mutual belief in certain things, that's not diversity. That's not what that means. But go ahead.
All right, let me begin by saying you mentioned the Jim Crow era as a major setback for the black community, but during the Jim Crow era, the black community had the fastest growing middle class in America. And the reason that went away was primarily liberalism, the victim mindset where you cannot get ahead by your own work, that there is always a white man standing over you, so why even bother trying? And because the liberal community, by and large, and I don't know how y'all got this to actually work and pass the sniff test, but somehow we went from when I was a kid, milk was delicious and nutritious, the okay hand sign was okay, and burning down black neighborhoods was racist. And now milk is racist, the okay hand sign is racist, and burning down black neighborhoods is somehow being a good ally. So that's what you've done with your attempts to fix things. You've made things monumentally worse and drove the black community into poverty. If it weren't for liberalism, you'd probably be one of the highest functioning classes in America, financially speaking.
fundamentally, everything that you said is so asinine that I can't even respond to it.
That's a cop out.
No, it's not a cop out. Like, what are you talking? Like, what? Burning black communities down wasn't in then, and it's in now. What does that even mean?
When I was a kid, you didn't burn down black communities. Now we have Antifa, a bunch of little white boys, and you have BLM, a bunch of black kids, going out there and burning down black-owned businesses, and somehow, this is helping black people?
For 10 months. 10 months burning all
Oh,
black
more than that. This never
That
stopped.
absolutely happened, and they also killed black people too, and it was accepted.
We're
You
doing
had the
black on black
Democrats
crime now.
you had Democrats approving of that crap.
Okay,
You know what?
respectfully, I'm gonna address. I'm sorry. I'll let you go. I'm gonna respectfully address this all in one sentence.
No, ladies first. You go right ahead. I'll come afterwards.
One second. No, 1 second, Ruel. Just let her respond.
Sure.
You're continually like discussing the symptoms and bypassing like the root of the issue, burning down black neighborhoods, like everything that you're saying. These are all results of things that tie back to the original challenges that I mentioned, and I'll just say that. Go ahead.
First of all, let me just say I fucking hate the left and I hate the right. I think politics is a big joke.
All right, let's get you up out of here, because what we're not going to do is talk bad on the right. Okay, we're not going to do that, Ruel. I'm kidding, Ruel.
What did I say?
No, I said you hate the.
She played too much. That's what that is.
You're not going to hate on my side, okay?
I hate both sides equally.
You know what?
We're equal opportunity around here.
Okay.
But as far as BLM goes, they're straight up a tool. They have nothing to do with black people and helping black people. Like BLM, like if you look at their bylaws, if they didn't cash the checks, the money went to the Democratic Party. Like, so like what are we talking about here? How is that like helpful? They're like a George Soros funded tool group. Like they're not even about helping black people. That's not the purpose of the group. It's like a Democratic tool group.
Okay, thanks.
And it said in their bylaws, if they don't cash checks, it goes directly to the Democratic Party. How does that have to do with actually helping black people be equal? Like, I know they take something that we want, right? That all black people want to be equal, right? And they take that and they use it as a tool. It has nothing to do with equality.
Ruel, thank you. She is completely ignoring your point because she thinks it doesn't mean anything. So I'm sorry for her rudeness. I'm going to apologize for her.
No,
but
that's
Ruel,
fine.
no, you were looking all over there. There's nothing there. I don't even have pictures hung up over there. What were you looking at? Nothing. So what I wanted to ask you is that you have brought up a point before. Now, Ruel, he's been on my channel before, and we had a whole show about his beliefs. Now, Ruel, do you mind? Ruel says that the majority of African Americans in this nation are native to the land and not brought on the slave trade, not brought by the slave trade from Africa. Wait, stop laughing. This is serious.
No, it's very serious.
It's very serious. So, okay.
6 generations.
He says that they're Indian.
It takes 6 generations to build, or well, no, less generations to break, but it takes 6 generations to build an empire. Like, I'm like, make it make sense. I'm not standing here today because I went to work, last week.
You're not making any sense. What is it?
My beliefs is not something that I can break down to you guys in an hour or 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. But if we're just talking about there's slavery and then there's de facto slavery, and we got de facto slavery with things like sharecropping. My parents were sharecroppers, and that's a de facto slavery. It's not slavery by law. It's slavery by their position. And that was the thing that actually happened.
His family was
Yeah.
Right.
He was black.
That's in support.
He's
He's currently black. Yeah, that's in support of what I was saying. That's my no. Like I'm sorry. I'm not minimizing what you're saying. Is you're really substantiating what I've been saying, which is the fact that like it takes multiple generations. Everybody's kind of minimizing it. Of oh well, you know, slavery ended or Jim Crow ended or what have you. But like it's multiple generations. So you know, I would venture to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you know, with your parents or your grandparents being sharecroppers, like. Okay, let me pose a question. Do you feel like that affects you to this day? If not,
Definitely it
why?
does.
And if so, why?
It definitely affected their standing in what they could do with their lives. But again, if we look at certain groups that are said to help Black people, like BLM, let's look at the NAACP. The NAACP was started by mostly Jewish leadership. And their Black founder, W.E.B. Du Bois, left them because he thought that they were too centralized. He was very diplomatic in the way he said it. And I could send you guys the essay he sent when he left the organization that he helped found. But one of the reasons he left the organization was because he thought that Jewish like owners of the sharecroppers or controllers of the sharecroppers or whatever were getting way too much privilege from these people, right? From these sharecroppers. But that whole organization, the NAACP, that was supposed to be there to help Black people, their own Black leader left them because they weren't helping. And
I got you, Ruel. I want to bring up a point because Rachel here said that it takes 6 generations to build an empire or something like that. And she said that why are they still complaining that slavery ended and everything is gone? But I would argue there's been more traumatic events happening to other races of people, yet they don't take. I can't. What about the Holocaust? The Holocaust happened how long ago?
Why are we?
Wait, no, I'm not done. I'm not done. No. I let you speak and I didn't interrupt you. No, I didn't. No. Now, what about the Holocaust? What about?
Do you still want to be friends after this?
I don't care. I don't care. But what about the Asian slavery that happened? What about Slavic slavery? What about all the other races, the Japanese who were brought here and put into concentration camps? What about all the other people who have suffered? Somehow they haven't used that excuse for not getting ahead. Why not?
See, this is a really complex conversation because people will say things like that, but then they get mad when Black people talk about reparations, but Indians got reparations. Japanese got reparations for being in
money is not going to make you successful. Money does not make you successful.
Hold on though.
And not every race did. What about the Jewish? Did the Jewish?
Italians also got reparations for being.
Did the Jewish for the Holocaust?
I can't say. I
don't think so. And that was even worse than all the other ones.
No. I think they got reparations from the Germans for that. They actually did get reparations for that. So when we look at the Jewish, when we look at the Italians, when we look at the Japanese, they got reparations, and people get
money. The little bit of money that Ruel, a little bit of money that a person gets. Ruel, a little bit of money that a person gets does not change your culture, does not change your people. If you have a people whose culture is based on something that is like hard work, like the Japanese, it doesn't matter if they were given $100, $200 for reparations, they still would have succeeded. Girl,
you think they got just $100 or $200?
Whatever they got, whatever they did get, money comes and goes. And another thing is that even if you give a group of people money, if you throw money at a problem, doesn't mean that it's going to fix it. People today, especially today, you give a bunch of people money today, what they're going to do?
They'll probably buy it on like buy bull crap, to be honest.
That's the problem. So,
however,
I have to get going now. I have to get going, guys, because I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop it so soon. I just have to go now because I'm at 2 hours and 45 minutes and I need to get back downstairs because my husband is actually waiting for me.
No worries. I'm never going to tell you to do anything against your husband, but thank you guys for the time.
My husband is not waiting for me because
do what I want. Anyway.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you have a marriage like that where you can do whatever you want, but I can't. So, thank you. Thank you all for joining me today. And when I say I yield my time, that's your cue to go to your car, your beautiful Tesla outside. That's your, yeah. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Bye, Dr. M. Goodbye, Dr. M. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, it was nice to finally drop by on one of these things.
It is nice to actually have you on the panel instead of just in the chat. Bye, Dio.
Thanks for having me. Have fun with your husband.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I have fun beating Rachel as well. Yeah, okay. Bye, Ruel. Thank you, Ruel, for coming.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Larry. And Larry, peace out. All right, then. Well, then, guys, thank you guys so much. And I know a lot of you may not agree with Rachel, but it is valuable to hear a differing opinion and also to solidify our own instead of us just always being in agreement. At least we can argue about something that is important to us and see what the other side, debate about things. I'm used to using legal terms. We always say argue because we argue just whatever. But yeah, it is nice to have these debates with each other. To me, I find it very valuable. And a lot of people, some people just agree with having people with differing views. I don't. I love it. I appreciate it, and it makes us stronger. So thank you all for joining me tonight. I will see you all possibly tomorrow. I'll probably be back tomorrow because there is something else I wanted to share with you all, and it was regarding a court case. And you know, for those who are interested in legal things, maybe tomorrow won't be your day, but tomorrow will be a legal conversation. So yeah, with that, guys, I yield my time. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm gonna put on a little bit of musico so I can let you guys out properly. Bye bye.